What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good to the room? A couple of us in here. Hopefully we stack up in here a little bit more. Shout out to everybody in the building. Please remember to hit the like when you get in the building. You know we're going to be talking about. We got a couple things to talk about tonight, and the panel will be opened up a little bit later so we can tap in and see what the community thinks about certain things. You know, things are moving and changing. Jaron Ennis, you know, surprising to a lot of people, and we'll get into that because, in all honesty, it wasn't surprising to me. You know what I mean? That Jaron went over to Matchroom. We'll get into that. David Benavidez apologizing for the way he was looking, you know, Saturday night. What does that really mean? You know, I mean, it's an apology, but you know, we all know David has a little bit of a history with a little bit of substance abuse, and also maybe making some poor choices that may be accredited to, you know, setting him back in his career, and why he probably isn't a champion in super middleweight division and going through this with Canelo. We can get into that as well. And obviously we've got the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia fight as well coming up next week. Countdown, what is it, like 9 days away, something like that? I don't know the math. Today is what, the 10th? What's today, the 10th, 11th? Who knows what today is? I'm all out of whack, but we'll definitely be talking about all those things. But let's salute to everybody in the building as well. You know what I mean? Salute to Texas 16 South, man. Salute, brother. Salute to Lil Rock, Legends of Boxing for sure. You know what I mean? Salute. And salute to Talk to Me. Talk to Me in the building. Salute. Ray Davis will be in here inside the next 30, 40 minutes or so. You know, he's getting some things together. You know what I mean? Oh, Ray's in the building in the chat. You know what I mean? He's just not in the room yet. But yeah, man, a lot going on, you know what I mean? And inactivity versus activity, you know what I mean? I think that's a segue into the whole conversation about a Jaron Ennis at this point, right? And I think it's going to be the future conversation for a lot of fighters. I think most fighters in the game are going to be concerned with activity versus inactivity when signing a promotional deal with any type of promotional team. Isn't that what they're mainly looking for? I mean, at the end of the day, they're looking to be active. And they're looking to get with a promoter that's going to put them in position to get the big fights, lead them, you know what I'm saying, in a trajectory towards some championship belts, big paydays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you got fighters who are literally sitting, literally sitting on the sideline and not getting opportunity to compete and get accolades and get money, then after a while, you're going to get some disgruntled fighters. I think that's only natural. And that's why I say you can't be loyal to a certain promotional platform, and not even loyal to the fighters. You got to really be loyal to the sport. But more importantly, you know, we need to be loyal to whatever's going to make boxing better, right? Whatever gives us better boxing is what we should be loyal to. And, you know, being loyal to one platform to me just never seemed to be that way. And in all honesty, I'm real happy for Jaron Ennis. I'm happy that he decided to take an opportunity to step outside the box from what people were projecting him to do. You know, I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on him to get with the PBC and join that club, you know, the go along, get along gang, you know what I mean? To do that. Salute LeBron James, salute Jay Cash, the money man, salute. Smash the like for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. Jay Cash, the money man. Salute for coming in this early. Yeah, I decided to kick it off earlier this evening. You know what I'm saying? I actually want to kick it off earlier, but we're going to talk about that as well because we're actually going to be doubling up in the day. I've been getting a lot of things in order. This is going to change as well. We're going to change a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's going to look better. We're going to actually have a phone line that we're going to be putting in there. So you guys will be able to actually call in. You ain't going to have to, you know, hit the definitely can't show your face. We're gonna have a phone line, whole bunch of stuff. Salute to Ray Davis in the building. Ray made it. Ray made it. How you doing, family?
Chilling, Clay. How am I sounding? Loud and clear?
Man, you sound clear. You sound like
All
you're
right.
ready to go too. I see it in
Word.
you. I can get your energy. I see it in your energy. We already know we got to get it in tonight.
Bro,
We got to talk about it.
You got to see how I just celebrated this on Twitter, bro. Actually, I did see you a text, didn't
I? You probably did, but you know how I do. I check like at a certain time.
You know me. I'm a promoting. You just call me Mr. Promoter. I'm like Al Heyman, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I do. Let's sure they come into the room. We need them. You know what I mean? We need them to understand and see what we do.
Exactly.
It's like a new service in the house. Amen.
Amen. Can I get a amen? Alhamdulillah in the back in the building.
For real. What's up, Frequent?
Salute, frequent fly in the building. Salute. Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about a lot of things, you know what I mean? But, you know, you get painted into a corner, you know, and sometimes we got to play the humble route. And most of the time we play the humble route. You know what I'm saying? We play humble. Okay, you got it. That's what you saying. Look, man, you right. I ain't got the facts. You right. I don't got the facts. You right. I'm just speculating. You right. But every now and then, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? And every now and then, you know, we hit it on the nail. And it looks like we're doing something crazy, but we're not. We're just really reading what's out there and what makes more sense for these fighters. A lot of these fighters are making decisions based on loyalty to other situations more than loyalty to themselves. And eventually, the light bill got to get paid. Eventually, the baby mama got to get taken care of, and your kids got to get taken care of. Eventually, the mortgage got to get paid, right? So eventually, everybody gets past the silliness of it all. Everybody does at some point. You know what I'm saying? And they start to make decisions using their head, and they leave this in the back seat of their Ford truck. You know what I'm saying? They start trying to figure out how they're going to take care of their responsibilities. And I think Jaron Boots Ennis got faced with that decision. You know, I think for the past couple of months, you look at it from the Cameron Duncan situation passing away. Rest in peace, Cameron Duncan. Fast forwarded to his, you know, actually go back to his deal with Showtime with Steven Espinoza. Fast forward to Cameron Duncan passing away and Showtime being sold. And well, not sold, shut down pretty much, right? There is no more Showtime, and pretty much leaving the boxing space, which put Jaron Ennis high and dry, right? Put him high and dry at that point. And everybody was wondering what he was going to do. And naturally, everybody said he was going to go with Al Heyman, right? Why? Because Steven Espinoza has a relationship with Al Heyman, and it just made more sense, supposedly, to do that. But I think me and you spoke about it in depth multiple different times on different platforms, as well as on this platform, explaining to why it just made more sense for him to go with Eddie Hearn, who's interested in working with him, because Eddie Hearn, the difference between Eddie Hearn and anything going on in the PBC is Eddie is very open to cross promoting. He has no problem letting go of his fighters if they need to go to another platform to get some money or to do some legacy things, bringing them back later or co-promoting. And he's also 1 degree separation from Turki Al-Sheikh. So when you're working with Eddie, you have an opportunity to get some big paydays. If Turki Al-Sheikh and Eddie Hearn are aligned on something, you know, that puts you in position. Being with the PBC, as big as the PBC is, and it's a big company, let's be honest. PBC is huge. We're going to respect them for what they do. You know, the event they did this past couple of weeks, not this week, but the week before last, was an epic event. And, you know, salute to the PBC for putting on that event. But, you know, the reality is, how many of those events have they put on like that this year? When you look at the zone and seeing that they've had about, 8 cards? I mean, it feels like they've had a fight at least every other weekend, if not every 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. They've got a card going up. You know what I mean? And that's just, you know, men lie, women lie. You know what I mean?
Numbers don't.
Numbers never do. But go ahead, tap in, Ray, man. How you feel?
Well, first of all, let me salute to the brother ready to drop this horn. Daryl McKinney, welcome to the channel.
Salute, Daryl McKinney. Salute.
Right, for real.
For sure.
Listen, for some real facts right now, Clay, you couldn't have said it. You couldn't have said it better myself. We literally sat on this channel, and we sat, you know, on another, I think 2 other platforms, building on the same subject. And we seen the light. We seen where it was going. We said that Eddie Hearn has money to offer him, right? Eddie Hearn has deals to offer him and fighters, which no one has fighters to offer him. PBC doesn't have fighters because nobody wants to fight them.
Right.
But Eddie Hearn has these guys because he has a whole bunch of fighters out there in Europe. and they're willing to fight him, and they're all in his stable. So guess what? Boots about to make some money. He about to defend his title. About to get some fights. Started with Conor Ben. We called it. And you know what I mean? It's nothing to do but celebrate it. You know what I mean? On some real.
Right. Definitely celebrate for Boots too, for real, for making a
absolutely.
decision that's going to be best for him. You know, because, and I'm gonna tell you, certain other fighters, don't be shocked, guys, if you don't see this being sort of a trend. And you know what I'm saying, as the year moves along, you're gonna see fighters who are sitting on the sideline. Salute Darren McKinney, who's gonna be sitting on the sideline, and they're weighing out their options, man, because you know the lights, everything that glitter ain't gold, man. Everything that glitter isn't gold, and you know PBC is glittering and it's gold for some people, without a doubt. There are people who are doing very well, exceptionally well with the PBC, but then you got a whole stable of fighters that are not necessarily as busy as the other fighters. Let's be real. They're not as busy, and they don't get paid to sit at home. And also keep in mind that these fighters are sparring, training hard, trying to stay in condition for these fights. And what's happening in the gym while this is all happening? Injuries are happening. You know what I mean? Things are coming together where they're not getting paid. You know, a fighter would much rather stay busy in a ring getting paid for it than doing what he does in the ring for free inside of a gym, sparring. And then what happens? After a while, it's like, okay, we got to relax on the sparring because we don't want to get injured no more. But then the guy gets cold, right? Now he's not even as nice, his rhythm, he's not there where he was before. So it's you damned if you do, you damned if you don't type of situation. So activity versus inactivity. And I said that in the beginning of this year. 2024, I said my focus is going to be activity for these fighters, man. I did not like seeing Boots Ennis sit by without no fights in the horizon for him. You know what I mean? I didn't like seeing, you know, every time they try to line up a fight for him, the guy would cancel. Somebody got to get their face fixed, something in their cheekbone. Another dude got to go to the dentist. Other dudes having babies. Like it don't stop. You know what I mean? So smart move by Jaron Boots Ennis. And like I said, look forward to seeing other fighters who are probably entertaining the same exact situations, and we'll see how they move. I don't want to bring up like a David Benavidez, right, who's super loyal to the PBC. And there's a very good chance he's going to re-sign with the PBC, right? But from the outside looking in, if we're being honest, guys, if he's going to compete, now I heard him recently bringing up that he would be willing to fight David Morrell if in the horizon two things were going to happen. Either A, Canelo was going to agree to fight the winner between him and David Morrell, or B, if the sanctioning bodies were going to be willing to make him vacate those belts, to to put them in opportunity. But at the end of the day, David Benavidez is very clear. If there's no actual championship opportunities for me in this division, if I'm just fighting just to be fighting and getting some money, which is cool, we love getting money, but if I don't see titles in my future in this division, I'm not going to be here, bro. I'm gonna pursue the winner of Better Be Even Bivol. And we know once he gets into that light heavyweight division and he starts talking about focusing his energy there and competing there, I ask you guys, how many light heavyweights are sitting on the PBC banner? You know what I'm saying? That they can coordinate those fights for David Benavidez. He'll have to think about the same thing that everybody else has to think about. If PBC's whole thing is all our fights have to be in the house, what exactly do they have for David Benavidez in the light heavyweight division, if that's where David Benavidez chooses to stay? What do you think about that, Ray?
I think you're 100% right, and that goes for like a lot of fighters, like you just said. I think this is going to be a trend, just to the fact that I think Eddie Hearn has gotten a second win. Matchroom is now becoming more of a stable for fighters. They can go there; they're going to get fights. It doesn't matter who the competition is. Eddie Hearn has fighters, and he's willing to make deals with other networks. That's the biggest thing. You know, he'll settle for that. The most important one is like you said, when it comes to a David Benavidez, talking to about going up to get undisputed at light heavyweight. You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn present, or not him, but Turkey Sheik presented that to him, which is the zone sponsored thing through Eddie Hearn and other promoters.
Right.
There you go. You know what I mean? Does he break the trust of Al Heyman or the PBC, Leonard Liability, and all them dudes to go make that deal because he needs something that he wants and he's been craving for a long time called the championship? Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? He's been starved a long time. He's been trying to get these fights, and you know what I mean? Something's going to have to give. He's either going to get the Canelo fight or he's going to have to move up. And he's going to get one of those two guys after the unification happens at light heavyweight. And That's what we want to see. Big fights. I think it's best for him to move up. We explain this because he's going to change that division. You have a few guys up there light heavyweight now that are starting to make names for themselves. But guess what happens? Follow suit because Morrell's going to be not too far behind him. And you have some guys that are clearly lurking, and they're really looking to move up to that division. We just seen the young man the other day, Pacheco. He could easily make light heavyweight. He's a big, tall dude. Pause.
Right.
So he can move up there, and he can make that. He can make that weight. And then we got and Billy. Billy's a big dude. You know what I mean? Pause.
Right.
He can move up. That, you know what I mean? And it just changes that whole division. And guess who wants to spoil it? Mr. Canelo, because he's already been there.
All of a sudden, he want to put his hat in.
He's already been there, right? He already made the weight. So why not go up there and try to be 2-time undisputed at light heavyweight? Gives him an opportunity to do something great. Gives him an opportunity to fight some tough fights. Gives him an opportunity to say, look, you know what? I can bang with these big guys up here too. Pause. But you know what I mean? It gives him that opportunity, and that makes it exciting.
And still an opportunity to make the biggest fight that could be made today and make it worth his while. Because if David Benavidez is able, right? So there's money up there. It's Turkey. You know, there's all kinds of possibilities with David Benavidez in the light heavyweight division. And just for your information, just to be known that in the top 10 right now, light heavyweights, there's only like 3 or 4 guys who are who aren't undefeated. Like we're talking about a division of a lot of undefeated guys up there. And I'm saying big punches up there, big fights that can be made, man. Big fights that can be made up there for David Benavidez.
Exactly.
You know, and even the guys who aren't undefeated, they got like 1 loss.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 20-1. And, you know what I mean? All a bunch of knockout guys. It's a very competitive division up there. David Benavidez is definitely in the space now where he is looking out for himself. You can tell his focus. Just the move to go to light heavyweight is a message. I'm not waiting on Canelo. I'm not waiting on him. You know, a lot of guys make that mistake, right? They wait on these fighters, chasing fighters all around the world, trying to get these fighters to fight them. Before you know it, they blink their eyes, they open their eyes, a year and a half's gone by. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's happened. So we'll see how that's going to turn around. But congratulations, Jaron Ennis, for sure.
Yes. And something else I wanted to mention with Jaron. You know what this also could lead to?
Terrence Crawford.
That, but guess what? There's more.
Oh yeah,
Devin Haney coming from 140 and making a potential fight with Jaron Ennis. They both be there at Matchroom. Big fight, big money, large pay-per-view.
Salute to TR and JR Spock, Junior Spock or JR Spock in the building. You know what I'm saying? And salute to TR in the building as well, man. 98-8 in the dirty streets on site. Salute TR, salute, man. Yeah, you know, possibilities, right? And you know, this whole entire idea that there's going to be a monopoly on this game and using that strategy as if you have a monopoly in this game, I think, you know, that could definitely blow up in some people's faces a lot sooner than later. You know what I mean? Lauren Jones says, nah, I don't see Devin fighting Boots. Man, you never see it until it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You never know, guys. You just never know. When we're talking about prize fighting, when you get that prize involved in there and you got somebody who can facilitate a super premium prize, a lot of conversations change before you know it, right before your eyes. Things just come together. All of a sudden, just start making sense.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if Shakur jumps over the Matchroom. Think about it. You know what I mean? That's another move that can happen. We can see a lot of fighters going over to Eddie Hearn, and all the fights can happen. You know what I mean? So this might be the new grounds for fights, man. I mean, they've been putting on some fights, like you said, all year. You know what I mean? Like every 2 to 3 weeks, they got a nice fight card. They've been giving us some pay-per-views, some great pay-per-views. And I know, you know, the zone as itself, you know what I mean, sharing the platform with a couple other networks and promotional companies doesn't necessarily make it all Matchroom. But Matchroom's been doing their thing. You know what I mean? Matchroom's been putting together some good cards. No disrespect to the other promoters on the Zone network, but you know what I mean? They could all match up too because they're all there. I mean, it just creates a zone stable. If they could all piece that together because they're right there in the same locker room, just down the hall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, salute to the boxing novice. I think it's the first time I've seen you in the building. I'm not sure. Sorry if I don't recognize you, but salute to you, man. Welcome to the community, man. Appreciate you being in the building. Salute to RC as well. RC says Eddie Hearn trying to combat the PBC's foolishness. You know, Eddie Hearn is kind of like on the Devin Haney mission, right? Where he's not fighting a particular platform. He's chasing greatness. He's just trying to be in the middle of the biggest fights that he can make. He's trying to be involved and included in the biggest conversations when it comes to matchmaking in boxing. And that's what it's all about, is for the fans. And, from our points as fans, you know what I'm saying? That's what you want to see from a promoter. Salute Poe Porter. Salute.
Salute.
That's what you want to see. You know what I mean? You want to see the best fight and the best. And you want to, the promoters, you want the promoters to be constantly concerned with giving the fans what they want, and not everything is a pay-per-view. Guys, not everything is a pay-per-view. Not everything is a pay-per-view, guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So LeBron Jones, I don't think it's so much, and Clay, you can touch on this too. I don't think so much as us or anybody talking negative about the PBC. I can't speak for others, but I can speak for what I believe in and what me and Clay talked about in discussions on personal conversations. It's not that we don't we talk negative about the PBC. We talk about the things that are not happening and what is happening. We all know that the fighters are shelved. No, none of the fighters come out. They're fighting. They took a whole quarter out of the year already to get their first fight card out. You know what I mean? And then we got their second card in May, which is already 2 months down the line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What are we seeing? You have a stable of fighters, and you have to get all these fighters on. You got a 14 fight deal, 12 to 14 mm-hmm. fight. Let's be correct, 12 to 14 fight. And if a whole quarter's missing, how are you going to facilitate all these fights and get all these fighters on? Now you got to cram everything together. You got Earl Spence, who's coming up. He ain't even fight since July of last year. You have Tank Davis, he's already over a year, coming up on the 22nd. We have salute 88 Sports Talk. Salute TR.
Salute 88. Salute.
And you know what I mean? So you have like all these other fighters that's been out there. Clay, if you want to jump in and think about it, like when's Danny Garcia fighting again? You know what I mean? Think about this. This is not a knock on them. This is a knock on what's going on. And then they lost their deal with Showtime, which everybody loved. Now, there were Amazon. I have no issues with that. I really have no issues with that. I already had Amazon. But, all boxing channels already started the streaming thing. They said Eddie Hearn, who was like, I think one of the first stream channels. I think Triller was another one. You know what I mean? DAZN rather. But them being on there, everybody was like, oh, it's going to be a failure. And guess what? This is the way it's going. Now you see them all doing it. Even Top Rank, who jumped on the bandwagon with the ESPN Plus. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is starting to be streamed. So it must be working. You know what I mean? Yeah. And PBC is following suit, but they have to figure out what they're going to do and how are they going to bring things to the front. And they have to let fans know. Everything you find out for the PBC is last minute. That's another thing. We knew that Devin was fighting Ryan in February, even though it was supposed to happen. What was it? January they started the arguments. Yeah, so we knew all that. You know what I mean? We knew that Tyson Fury was fighting Usyk in December, even though it got pushed back to May. Like we knew these things. We knew even on Top Rank. We knew Loma and Kambosos was fighting, even though it was supposed to happen in January, February. Then it got pushed to May. We knew it was happening.
Right.
So
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to tap in just to say this, right, LeRon. At the end of the day, I understand that it's a new platform, right? 100%. I completely understand that, man. And I'm not trying to kick them while they're down because I understand that they're in a space where they're transitioning and that they're adjusting to their new environment, right? My point is that it doesn't change the fact that you have a lot of fighters who aren't active because of it, right? Because of the situation, the fighters aren't active. And what I'm simply saying is there is a time clock on them. There is pressure on them because these fighters are waiting to hear about when their next fights are going to be because this is how they make money, right? So although we empathize with the PBC's present position and what they're trying to put together, it doesn't change the circumstance, the reality of the circumstance. And if they're not going to be willing to, because let's be honest, the way to solve this problem from the outside looking in would be opening the doors to cross promotion, right? Opening the doors are like, you know what? We're going to put our fighters on this platform. We're gonna let our fighters over here. Yeah, sure. We got mega fights you can make. Let's blow up. But if you're trying to control the narrative by making it to where we're only fighting in-house and we're only doing it the same way we did it when we were at Showtime, when we had the space and we were able to facilitate fights for all these fighters, then ultimately at some point you're risking the fighters you having on your platform or under your banner starting to entertain outside offers because they need to be active, right? 100% they need to be active. So it's not kicking the PBC. I'm a fan of the PBC. I'm going to go on record to tell you that event they did 2 weeks ago was the biggest event of the year so far. Super successful, great fights. I love even seamlessly the way they were going from fighting to fight. There's a lot of positive things that I can give you on that event and what they did. My question is, how are you going to replicate this enough times? You need to replicate it more. It can't be a fight. You know, you had a fight in March, not in March. Now you're going to May, then you're going to June, and then we don't know what's going to happen after June, right? We don't even know what's going to happen after June, right? So they always going to put on the best events. You're right, LeBron, but still activity, that's all it is. It's nothing against them. It's just about activity. Right. Let me ask the room something. Do you think Jaron Ennis wanted to go to the PBC, or do you think he wanted to go to Matchroom? And I want you guys to think about that, right? Because speaking to people who are close to Jaron Ennis, being in a space where we can where I'm talking to a lot of people, like, you know what I'm saying, honestly, who are in the gym, trainers and things like that, there was a pretty much broad consensus that they were expecting Jaron to make a move with the PBC. It was a natural move for him to make. You have to ask yourself, even I'm watching the video that he just put on with Matchroom, and I can put on that part of the video, right? Because it was actually right there at the video when they're asking him what motivated him, you know what I'm saying, to go on with Matchroom. You can see like a little bit of he doesn't necessarily want to be with Matchroom, dare I say. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't necessarily want it as much, but he had to make a decision that made more sense for him with what the PBC could do for him. He had to be honest. Like, if you guys aren't going to be able to assure me activity to a certain level, and you're not going to be able to put me in position to unify and become an undisputed champion at some point, or at least put me in the best position so where my activity gets me paid, I have to entertain other options. I promise you, everybody around him, when you're thinking about Steven Espinoza and you're thinking about the people that are around him, I promise you, everybody was trying to push him towards the PBC. I'm telling you.
Right.
You can believe it. You best believe they were trying to push him there.
And not to mention, even Steven Espinoza is not even with the PBC right now. He's not currently with them. And what I wanted to touch on too, Clay, is that when you look at the way that the PBC was structured, how many doors did they close in the industry? You know what I mean? Aside from that, we're not knocking the PBC for what they're doing. I'm not even calling them great. I think they're doing great. But when we're looking at the fights with the PBC, right, we're looking at our best fighter 1 to 2 times a year, but they're so spread out, and they might even be one every year. Like I said, who are we going to get after this next fight that we already got on the line? We heard about the card with Tank Davis, right? We don't know the full Canelo card yet. We know about the card. We know we had a problem and an issue with the Thurman fight that was supposed to happen with Tim Tszyu, where they threw Fedora in there as a late switch, right? So what are we getting? Yes, it was a great fight, but it was not what we had planned for. Because I tell you what, that was a bad move, and I don't even know if it was like on purpose or not to do that switch. We don't know. I'm not there in that room. I don't know their plans, but it was a great business move. I'll tell you that, because I was not buying that fight. I'll be honest with you, with Tim Tszyu and Keith Thurman. It was for no title. You know what I mean? It was a catch weight fight. And I just didn't like the chances of it because I just thought it was a bad matchup. I would have watched it probably for the Rolly fight, but I wasn't paid for it. I would have went to a bar at my friend's house. That's it. I'm telling you right now. But guess what I did pay for it? Tim Tszyu versus Fedora. I thought that was a great fight.
Right. And LeBron, yeah, for sure. And I get what you're saying. Everybody has a unique situation. You know what I mean? There are plenty of fighters who are over at the PBC who are doing very well, bro, and who have no reason to leave. They're being treated properly. They're getting the biggest bag that they ever gotten. There's no complaint. You know what I'm saying? But then you got those handful of fighters who are sitting on the sideline and who aren't you know what I mean, getting what I think they might be wanting. You know what I mean? Claymore Rain, the Judas getting bashed daily by phenomenal.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. I'm saying the Judas. That's hilarious. Let me see. Clay with a backlash when Crawford didn't sign with the PBC. Salute Andrew Charles. I don't know. And that's another conversation, TR, right? Like, so what's going to happen now? I actually heard Blue Blood was up a little bit early today talking on this, and somebody in the chat literally said, man, I ain't studying Boots, man. He left the PBC. He ain't go to the PBC, bro. He went somewhere else. Somebody actually said that, right? And it's just like, bro, so all of a sudden you don't think Boots' fights are going to be exciting? Like, guys got to stop riding
loyalty. Like,
yeah,
and it's not real loyalty. It's not real loyalty. It's just like, yeah, it's like I just connected something. It's like that one outfit you got for as a kid, or a pair of sneakers you got as a kid, you just can't let go, bro.
Right.
Sorry, there's other options.
Right.
We don't control those options. We don't control the fighters. We're not in their pockets, but we want to be. I hear fans all day talk about people's stacks and who they should sign to and who they should fight next. Dude, we're not the promoting companies. We are not the managers. We are none of those. Yes, we want to see things as fans, but it's what's best for the fighters at the time. And we do too much getting involved with what the fighters should be doing because we want them to. Right. You know what I mean? And then we cry about it. And then they put up poor performances with fighters that we don't believe that is a challenge for them. And then we call the fighter a bum or a food or whatever you want to call him. You know what I mean? Instead of, oh, well, you know, this guy, Shakur ran around the ring from De Los Santos. I don't care if his hand was break. I don't either. Guess what? I said the same thing. But at the same time, I knew he was in there with a legitimate fighter. Some people was like, oh, he's going to wash him. Same thing with Regis. Oh, Regis is going to beat Devin. He can't come up there and try to beat Regis. And I heard that a lot. And then when Devin turned around and put a beating on Regis, oh, Regis was a bum and this and that. It's going to happen. We're going to get this everywhere. Teal's going to wash Jermaine Ortiz. Didn't happen. You know what I mean? We're always looking for the favorites. We're always want to be on these guys. I ain't gonna say it. But you know what I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? They're always hanging in their jock strap, smelling them. Bro, I ain't got no time for that. I am here as a boxing fan, and I'm going to evaluate the fight like I do. I'm going to evaluate the fighters like I do. I am not going to take a chance on saying who I am fans of and all that, because I'm fans of all the fighters, because I like boxing. But when I call something down the middle or I call it the way I see it, guess what? I'm usually right because I evaluate the fights. And Clay will tell you, I literally told you Jermaine Ortiz was going to give this guy trouble. And I also was on the stage last week, the other day, Clay, who I tell you was going to give trouble to somebody. See if you remember.
In Limos?
Yeah. Well, I did say that, but who I just say recently? We was talking about another fight that's coming up.
That's coming up?
I'm sorry, not coming up. That we was talking about. And I said the speed will give them trouble. We was talking about it. We were talking about Conor Ben and Boots, right? And I said to you, right. I said the speed can be dangerous for Boots. I said I didn't say that Boots won't win, but what did I say? I said the speed can nullify some things that Boots does, and he's comfortable with, because Conor Ben's a very fast fighter. And you were saying, well, Barrios, I think, is a better fighter. I said I agree as a boxer. And I said, but when it comes to that speed, man, speed kills. And speed can be dangerous, and that's the truth. I just evaluated how I see it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be 100% right or accurate all the time. What it matters is that I evaluate these points and I try to bring them to the forefront so you guys understand what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if it's PBC top rank, the zone, Sky, whatever it is. It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Darryl McKinney said, I think Boots is a Michael Jordan boxer. I don't care under who he fights. I just want to see him fight. With Darryl McKinney, I got a feeling that you were a fan of boxing, bro. You know what I'm saying? And what you're saying, naturally, I would expect you to say. You know what I'm saying? There's a casual fan base today that has, today's boxing fan is not the same as any other era's boxing fan, right? And that's because a lot of it has to do with social media and the access that we have into certain conversations that we might not have had access to in other eras, right? So today we can find out pay-per-view sales and how much money they made and A-side, and we get ourselves involved in these A-side, B-side conversations, and you know what I mean, who should be able to allow to do whatever he wants to do. And what we've done is, instead of adding that to being a fan, we've replaced the idea of the best fighting the best with us getting excited about people and their money. You know what I'm saying? We replaced it. We didn't add it, right? It'd been different if we added it. Like, we still want to see the best fight the best, but we also enjoy talking about, you know what I mean?
Salute A-side.
Salute A-side. Ring Rob was in the building. Salute Everyone smash the like button and make sure to subscribe to Claim Rate. Thank you, A-Side.
Salute.
You know, so we replaced that, and now you'll hear people say things. You know, like you see Darryl McKinney sitting here saying what I think any boxing fan should say. I think Boots is the Michael Jordan of boxing. I don't care who or where he fights. I just want to see him fight. Period. But you'll have people who will literally turn their backs on Boots today because he's not with the PBC. Because he didn't go to the PBC. They'll literally turn their back on him and say, who cares about what he's doing now? And just last week, they were like, Boots needs to fight Terrence. Boots would tear Terrence up. Boots is one of the best. He's the best fighter right now, anywhere between 130 to 154 pounds. Ain't nobody, you know, all types of praises for him because they thought he was a PBC. But now that he's not with PBC, it turns out that he was still in negotiations and he made a decision to go in a different direction. They literally have a change of heart based on where he's fighting at.
Right.
It's the truth.
Right.
It's the truth, man. It's happening. It's happening.
It's like they kicked him out the Bikers Club.
Yeah, they do it every day. I'll tell you, 20 years ago, I'm calling out Claymore for the friendly fade, and I'm 5'8". I know TR. You know what I'm saying? That's good. We're gonna blame it on the PBC, bro. All I gotta say to you, TR, is call Al, bro. Hold on, LaRon Jones. LaRon Jones said, hold on a second. Let me just read this right because I think he's responding. Darryl, he's speaking to Darryl. He said he definitely once in a generational talent. That's why I say situation is very unique. I just hope he's able to become the star I suspect with the potential he has. Yeah. He's unique. He is unique. But is he unique in his circumstances? He's unique as far as him being a fighter, right? And the caliber of fighter he is and the generational talent that he is. He's unique from his peers in that sense. But his situation that he was in, is it that unique? Not being able to get fights. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to stay active. I don't know if that's so unique. There's a lot of fighters who are actually sharing the same exact situation. You know, Subriel Matias was like, I'm going to go this way. Ray Vargas was like, I'm going to go this way, right? Based on activity. And I promise you, everybody loves the PBC. All of these fighters who left the PBC love the PBC. I've heard nothing but great. If you're a fighter fighting for PBC, I've heard nothing but the greatest stories. Like fighters love the PBC because they're fighters first. But keeping that in mind, if they're still choosing to move away, why? Why are they moving away? You know what I'm saying? There's something to think about. That's it. What is it? Samson Lee Wiz keep talking about how Bud not active and needs to fight, saying he's been out the ring for 9 months, but don't say that about EJ and Boots. They've been out just saying as long, bro. He's always worried about, but yeah.
That's the narrative. And I don't want to get into that semantic thing, but I'm just saying that's how things get. He's a fan of what he wants. Respect out to the OG. You know what I mean? No disrespect. Mm-hmm. He likes what he wants, and he has this platform. He can talk about whatever he wants out there, and you know what I mean. Whatever he feels he facilitates, that's what it is.
Hold on. Good evening. Hold on a second. Good evening, Claymore. And Ray, I heard a content creator saying just last night, Boots should be fighting Conor Ben. I don't know if he should be, but he's going to be. That's what it looks like. If the PBC wanted Boots, they would have signed him. Boots hung around them for a while, and they didn't take him in. Maybe that's it. Right. I mean, so they didn't want to get into Jaron Boots' business. I don't know, like that. That's hard to believe for me. But I mean, everybody's entitled to, you know, if that's what they felt, and then that's what they did. Fine, but I find it hard. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people. Let me bring the Queen into the building real quick here.
Rachel.
Hello to the Queen.
Testing,
Rachel.
1, 2, 3. Scratching, not scratching.
A little bit.
You already know. If you know, you ain't got to ask. How you doing this evening, Rachel?
Good. I was just watching the Pro Box fights. I thought this was going to be a good fight. No Needle walked out because the guy quit in the first round. So I was like, okay, well.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Nobody want to see no nonsense like that. Oh, you're watching at home, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. This is in Florida. A lot of the Pro Box cards are in Florida. And
right.
Yeah. So Angelo Leo's coming out.
Yeah, they have like their own facility out there that they're hosting these events at. So that's most of the time where actually the fights are at. Yeah. Did you hear about the news today about Jaron Boots Ennis going over to Matchroom?
Matchroom? Yeah, I heard. It's interesting because I feel like right now is such a weird, like, okay, so you have, right, the Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, April 20th, and they announced the undercards like, 1 or 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
tickets are still available. And the promotion for that, like I felt like, remember we were talking about it, I was like, I was going to buy it, and then Ryan's acting funny, and I also don't know who's on the undercard. At this point, I'm not going to pay for last minute flight tickets and hotel rooms and all that sort of stuff, right? So there's one part. Then you have Matchroom, who did the card with Richardson Hitchens
Right.
at Fountain Blue, and that was empty as hell. So,
It was.
you know, I don't know why. I think from what I've seen, I think Matchroom needs to stay in Arizona. It seems like their Arizona events are like they're popping, they're full, there's a lot of people. Also could possibly be, you know, the opponents that they're selecting and things like that. But I mean, that's, you know, he did Connor Ben here at Cosmo on a Sunday brunch. Saturday brunch. And then the Hitchens fight, nobody here knew that it was even here. We were watching it, and I was like, oh, like, let's put on boxing, because we went to an amateur event, and then we went to our fighter's house, and we're like, put on DAZN, you know, Hitchens fighting, and then it said Fountain Blue all over the place. Everyone in Vegas was like, this fight was here? We didn't even know. So, you know.
Yeah, it was empty
too.
I
mean, when you're putting on that many fights, that, you know, they're not all going to hit, especially, you know, when you're not able to tap into, because you want to save your big fighters for the pay-per-view cards, or, you know, your big event. So like that card, that Richard Hitchens card, outside of the 3 fights, I want to say the co-main event, the one right before it, and the main event, it was a really boring card. You know what I'm saying? Skylar Nicholson, she was just playing patty cake up in there. I mean, she had her, you know, technique wise, I see what she was doing, but it was just lackluster to say the least. Right. Seeing her compete.
Not to mention her dance at the end.
Yeah, it was just unnecessary. It was just like, you're celebrating way too much. Just take your victory and, you know what I'm saying, and get better. And then to hear her bring up, like, I'm going to try to get at Amanda Serrano, I was like, no, you're not. You better stay away from that girl. You better stay clean out that girl's lane.
Well, she knows that's the money fight, right? Like, she's seeing Katie do it, and that was with Eddie as well. So she's hoping to get that money fight done. But I mean, there's going to be 2 problems. Of course, WBC won't mandate 3-minute rounds, 12 rounds for ladies, and Amanda's really trying to push the envelope on, you know, of pushing. I guess equal time in the ring, of course, with equal pay, right? Which it's going to be for me. Like, I feel like there's nothing that should stop a woman. They were already sparring 3-minute rounds with guys, you know, during sparring, so it's not their stamina. And the danger is within boxing. It's not like they're going to fight against a male. If they're fighting against a male, I don't understand, but they're fighting against another female. So it should be allowed. But I think that's going to be a huge issue, because Amanda vacated that belt because of that reason. Mm-hmm. So if they're trying to unify, I don't see WBC saying that, okay, well, we're going to grant it now, considering Amanda was trying to push that for, I think it was like 2 fights ago.
Right. I mean, she's just not. I don't see her. I mean, if they have the fight, they have the fight. But I think Amanda, especially, I'm thinking Amanda Serrano's probably on her way out the door. Probably like another 2-3 fights. She's probably about done. So I don't see her messing with no damn Skylar Nicholson. I could see her getting with Alicia Baumgartner. I could see her getting back with Katie Taylor. I could see her, you know, I don't see her really entertaining Sky, but you never know what's going to happen. Right. But that being said, with what Matchroom is doing with Boots right now, kind of segueing into Boots a little bit, just to say that I expect to see him way more active. I expect to see him way more active right now, staying busy, fighting whoever they're going to put in front of him, as long as they're willing to pay him. And I think that's what he wants more than anything. I think at first he wanted undisputed, and I still think he wants undisputed, but I think more than undisputed right now, he just wants to fight. I think he just wants to fight.
You know what else a potential is? They could even try to get him to move up to 154 to get some of the bigger names. That might be a potential way too. You know
100%. If they're able to incentivize him with money, he's going to make those moves naturally. Yeah,
right.
like
the money could be there for him.
We're going to put a bag in your pocket for this fight. He's not going to turn away from those opportunities.
No,
he's not going to
stay busy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like in 47 right now, like who's someone that, I mean, you take out Bud, right? Because we're all assuming he's going to move up to 54. Who is the big money fight there?
Right. There are fights there that could be good for him. The question is, can they put the fights together? Because the fighters seem to be actively, I don't want to say ducking, but I'm going to say passing on the opportunities to fight Boots. It seems like nobody in that division really wants to fight him. You know what I mean? And he's a big 147 pounder. So it's just, he has to start entertaining the reality that he's in and saying, listen, if these fights can't be made, all right, tell me what fights can be made. And I think he's going to find out that most of the fights that can be made are not going to be at 147. We're going to be at 154. That's what I believe.
I agree.
Right. And he's going to have to
agree with that. Well, I mean, like it's, you know, I think, with, you know, the passing of Cameron Duncan, I think that did put like a huge, you know, wrench in his career. It's not something I think that anybody, you know, you don't foresee things like this happening and what happens. And, you know, there comes a point where you don't want to sound selfish and you don't want to be like, yeah, thanks, Cameron, but I need to move on. And you don't want to sound insensitive to a family that's grieving. But, you know, now Kelly, his wife, was the one that took over, what is it now, boxing, and, you know, was having to deal with, you know, the death of her husband and taking over all the businesses. And that's going to take a minute. You know, you're grieving and you're trying to learn and understand what you just inherited and how to move them, and the scope in which Cameron left it. You know, Showtime was very much a part of that negotiation because Cameron signed him to Showtime,
right,
and not PBC. So, you know, the intricacies of the relationships that Cameron had built, and who he could have called and structured that move by, might not have been as accessible to Kelly to be like, hey, I know this stuff is going on, but I want to make sure the fighters that we have signed are still taken care of. You know, I don't know, here's a list of who you're supposed to call and move them this way or move them that way, you know, because Cameron did build relationships within boxing that you can't pay with money. But if anyone just comes in, like I had it the same way when I was managing No Needle on my own, like there are people that wouldn't deal with me, right? Just because I was a female. And that's just how it is.
Right. I definitely understand what you're saying. You know, I think it's, let me ask you guys a question. I mean, what do you think the chances are that Turkey Alex Sheik is actually interested in seeing Jaron Boots Ennis fight Terrence Crawford? Like, what do you think the chances are that he's interested, personally, he's interested in seeing that happening?
Salute, Jose. I think the percentages of that, I definitely think it's more than 50%. I'll go on a wild chase and say I think it's about 80% that he wants to see the best fights. He wants to see the fighters fight. And it's a very strong possibility that that's what he wants, and that's what we're probably going to end up getting.
Do you think that could have been one of the needle movers for Boots Ennis, possibly, that, you know, them assuring him that they're going to be able to kind of like coordinate certain things?
No.
Okay.
He already did that with Berlanga.
Right.
He tried that. Remember, he did. Right. That's why everyone was like, "Oh, yay! Like, good for Berlanga. He moved to Matchroom. Now he's going to get Canelo." And I told everyone, I was like, "You out of your damn mind? Like, you think that that's an actual written contract? It's great to sound like that we're blueprinting, right? But it's all verbal words. Unless it's in the contract, like, you're shit out of luck. You can't be like, after 3 years, like, well, you promised me Canelo. It's like, actually it says I will in good faith try to push a Canelo fight, but it doesn't say that I'm contractually obligated to do so.
Right.
You know? Right. So, I mean, hopefully they had a conversation based on, you know, who or what the career path is, on the time span that they have him sign, and hopefully it had some names to it. If not, then we got to hope that he's getting fights that are not just going to be geared towards Matchroom fighters. And I say that because of Conor Ben, right? Like I don't care about Conor Ben. Like, stop trying to push him down our throats. We don't care. No Diddy. But Boots has to be in the best position because he's better than Conor Ben. Conor Ben, nobody comes out to see him here.
Right. But
he doesn't have anything.
They might attract a little crowd with him if Boots is involved in it, and it'll get him at least an international look. I think that Boots. I think there's a better chance of the Terrence Crawford and Boots fight happening in the way Boots has coordinated his business affairs than if you'd have went over to PBC. How about that? You know what I'm saying? For the people who want to see Boots fight Terrence, I think this is his best angle at potentially getting that fight is by getting in front of some money, because Terrence Crawford's only issue with fighting Boots has always been the money. It's always been like, I'll fight him, but this money got to make sense. Please get somebody to pay for it. Well, I think he's put himself in an arena to where there's a big potential shark in the water who might be able to facilitate it, who I like to call the Charles Edward Cheese of boxing right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like to call Turkey right now. He is the Charles Edward Cheese of boxing, where you might think, something is impossible, but you get in an arena of a shark like a Charles Edward Cheese or a Turkey Al Sheik, things become way more possible all of a sudden. All of a sudden, things can happen,
Right. And you're right, Clay, because at the end of the day, like you said, what Turkey can bring to the table is not just military dollars, because that's all we hear about. Oh, he's using the military funding and this and that. No, he's using the Prince and the King's money from all that oil and all them jewels and all them rare rocks that they got over there. That's what he's using. And guess what? They got plenty of it. And they're building that city up over there, and they're making it a global place to be. So guess what's going to happen? They're going to start bringing in all these fighters, and they want to see the big fights. They want to make boxing great again, and that's what we like. That's what we like to see. And you know where they seen all this happen? When they watch celebrity boxing happen over in Dubai, and they say, you know what? People are willing to watch this across the globe. You know what? What if we do this here and not with celebrity boxers? Why don't we get real fighters to fight real fighters that people want to see? We'll pay for it, and people are tuning in.
Wait, Ray, you missed me. What, military funding?
Oh no, that's not me. That's not me.
No,
this is a quote from other people that state
that Turkey Al Sheik is affiliated in some kind of way with the military budget, and that
sarcasm.
They're tapping into that. He's tapping into a military budget that he's put in charge of to coordinate these big fights, which is just stupid. It's just not true, because you don't know that he's actually doing the job that the Prince and the King of Saudi Arabia has told him to do. Right? They've literally told him, go do this, and he's doing that. So, but that's just, going in a direction, Rachel, of just the campaign that's been put stateside on discrediting this man's ability to facilitate these fights completely.
Correct.
Anything they can do to discredit what he does, they'll entertain anything. I've heard weird things. I've been hearing even weirder things in the past couple of weeks. I'm not going to even mention, just to say that I've heard a lot of weird stuff just to discredit this. Meanwhile, this guy we're about to watch, Tyson Fury and Usyk, Alexander, unify the heavyweight division, something that hasn't happened like over 20 years. We're about to watch Benavidez and Bivol unify the light heavyweight division, which we haven't seen in a while as well. And who knows what else they got planned, right? So we can't entertain that. The reality is, the momentum says, the trajectory says, these guys aren't going nowhere no time soon. They're going to be here.
The reality is, we all live in the U.S. and we shouldn't be worried about how they're getting their funding when we can't even, nobody can tell us where our freaking military funding is. So everyone should shut the hell up about that. We're looking at someone else's Greek. Oh, like, how are they, what fertilizer are they using? Blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up. You don't even know what the hell we're doing over here.
Listen, give her a horns for that. For real. Blow it up.
Yeah. No, 100%, Rachel. That's the reality. What you just said is, the reality is, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So what are we talking about? We're talking about fights happening. We're talking about making fights happen and how.
And if I'm correct, they're also doing, I thought they were creating an F1 track. So I mean, they're investing into the tourism, and tourism has a budget as well. Every country does, and I don't know if the people that are claiming the military thing know that we have a tourism budget as well. Philippines has a tourism budget as well, and it's all to promote the country itself. I would expect that this is going under tourism because of the fact that they're bringing in different, fighters from different, all walks of life, different nationalities, different countries, and they're being seen on a global stage. So just because we're so invested in boxing, we have blinders on to see what other investments that they're making. Is just, it's ignorant, and we're thinking like we're the only country in the planet that can to do these things. We're going to nitpick and look at their financial budgets as a government when we can't even account for our own. So I just think it's ridiculous and silly. If Turkey decides to do Boots and Crawford, I think it'd be really amazing. What I think we are starting to learn, though, is that he's not writing blank checks. And I say that because, he did that, with the whole Tank thing. He's like, nah, nope, I could give you what you're asking for, but no. So there's a certain level of when you're asking for things that are not possible, and asking for things that are still within the realm of possibility. Right. So I mean, I just hope that that's not something that we come back with outrageous numbers. I need $1 billion to fight kind of BS thing just to get these fights happening.
There's only a handful of boxers who are really operating under that idea. I think people are just obviously fighters are looking to get paid maybe their best paydays that they've ever gotten personally when they're dealing with Turkey. They're probably thinking in that direction, but they're not going to price themselves out of their best paydays, right? Like if my best payday was 25 million and you're offering me 30+ million to fight somebody who's not even as hard as my best payday, I don't think somebody's going to walk away and be like, nah, man, I need like at least 50 million or I'm not going to do it. Nobody's playing that game. You know what I'm saying? Only a handful of people have the audacity to play that game. The biggest stars, obviously in boxing, some of the biggest stars in boxing will play that game. And I'm happy you brought that up because that's true, right? Like some people, like I remember I said something one time before, and somebody tried to hold me literally to it, right? And I said Turkey Al-Sheikh has a history of not sparing any expense to get the fights that he wants, right? So the picture getting painted is I said he would give somebody $1 billion, right, to fight. That's not what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is he's probably going to match or do better than your best payday you ever had if he's enticed, if he wants the fight. If he wants that fight and he thinks it's going to do something for boxing, do something for Riyadh, do something for the legacy of boxing in Riyadh, he's going to probably tap into matching or going above your best payday. And I don't think that's far-fetched. But the biggest thing I want to say is you won't know unless you pick up the phone when it rings. Right? So if the phone is ringing and Turkey Al-Sheikh's on the other line, you look crazy not picking the phone up and seeing what he wants and what he wants to do. It might still not be for you, right? Once you pick up that phone, you might hear everything he says and might be like, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm straight. I'm going to pass on that. That's not for me. But you can't tell me that not answering the phone is smart, right? It's what you should do. Don't even answer his phone call. Why? For what reason? That cannot benefit you in any kind of way. That sounds like somebody got a hand up your ass and you're a puppet and they're making you talk and make you say stupid stuff that benefits them and has nothing to do with you. That's what it sounds like when I hear that kind of conversation.
No, you always, entertain and see what kind of market value you have by taking in those phone calls. Like I said, we have to make sure, like as fighters and as managers, we're not being so egotistical that we're like, well, I've only made, let's just say 10 million as my highest payday, so I'm going to ask him for 100. And you know that, like, just because you're asking for 100 and you're smacking that opportunity away instead of negotiating on a proper, like, what is your worth within the scape it is right now in the United States, and how much more can you get if you go to Saudi? Of course, with the right opponent, the right circumstances, the right weight and all those other things considered. But you have to like sit back and not I need 200 million. Like, come on, like those. Now you're just trying to get an open checkbook. And like I said, I like the fact that he didn't give in to anybody's demands, because he's just like, you're asking me for money. You can do the fight yourself, do it yourself. But let's be honest, no one can. I'm gonna log off and then go on my computer because people are complaining. I'll be back.
Yeah, the sound is bad, but it's hard for me to tell you negative stuff. But I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Go get your laptop and come back.
Yeah,
man. Rachel was cooking, man.
Yeah, she was on fire. I'm glad I said that, because she was like, "What? Who?
Right.
Where?"
But it's what's
and it's
going
true.
on out here.
And not even to mention that we're talking about, oh well, Amazon has more money than the Saudis. No, they don't. The Saudis have lifetime money, like generations of years of generations, bro.
Yeah,
that oil and them jewels ain't going nowhere.
Nah,
nowhere.
They're not. Shout out to Hood Rich in the building. Salute. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I'm saying? Eddie will keep Boots very, very busy. Listen, he said Eddie will keep Boots busy with good food. But I just took it, I kind of shortened it up. At the end of the day, Boots is going to be busier. And that's a great move he made. We ain't got to play about it. Smart move he made. He made a move that's going to benefit him and his family, his gym, his everybody who's around him, who's waiting on paychecks from him, waiting for him to get paid so that it can, bleed out into them getting money. Should be very like, thank you, Boots. Thank you for thinking about everybody, not just yourself. Thank you for thinking about everybody. Because Boots owns a gym. He's making money. He's not starving or anything like that, but, he's a prize fighter. And there's a lot of people who are invested in his prize fighting career being successful. Go ahead, do your thing. You going to be on mute or something?
Yeah. I got to run out.
Okay, do your thing, Renee. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, good move by Boots, man. Good move by Boots. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Boots not signed with the PBC, has nothing to do with Floyd and Al Heyman. 100%, Riley, nothing to do with them. I'm sure he has no hatred towards them. This has nothing to do with beef with them. His move to go over into Matchroom was based on what's going to benefit him. 100%. That's how that's going to work. And we're going to try our best. When you're talking on these topics, in a second, people who want to see the PBC do bad, they're going to affiliate themselves in this conversation and maybe paint a picture that we're attacking the PBC. Never. I'm not attacking the PBC. I'm going to go on record and let you know I am not attacking the PBC. What I am saying, though, is the fighters who are under PBC, if it doesn't make sense for them to be on a PBC for their own benefit, it's not far-fetched to see them move on to another opportunity. The PBC isn't the end all, be all. You know what I'm saying? It's a great place. A lot of people want to be there. I think even Rachel's back on here right now. She even told me about, Nonito had told me, actually, both of them had told me that they had a great relationship with the PBC, that they did great business with the PBC. You know what I'm saying? Very rarely you hearing boxers out here walking these streets going, man, the PBC screwed me. Blah, blah, blah. I don't like the PBC. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening out here. But, some fighters have better opportunities in other places. And Boots happens to be one of them right now. Roscoe said Boots did the right thing. PBC was holding him back. Roscoe, I agree with you, except I'm not going to say PBC was holding him back because he wasn't with the PBC, right? He was with a whole nother promotional outfit. But I don't think the PBC was going to be able to facilitate him the fights he wanted or keep him as busy as he wanted to be. I don't think he could. I don't think he was willing to bet on that based on the current circumstance of how their fights are rolling out and the events are rolling out. You look at the Canelo Alvarez fight that's coming up. He was supposed to be on the undercard. He's not on the undercard. Why? Because they can't get him an opponent because Crowley's like, I'm good. I got things going on. Mario Barrios is like, I'm straight, but I had a baby. Now Mario Barrios is actually fighting somebody else on the card. So, run and tell that. At the end of the day, if you can't facilitate the things that are going to benefit me in my career, I'm going to move on respectfully. I'm going to move on. And that's what I think you seen Boots do. Let me see.
Well, I think people, like you were saying, like they're so confused off this. And I've said it since the beginning, just no one listens to me. I'm like, Boots was signed to Cameron Duncan Promotions, and he signed an exclusive deal because the promoter has the exclusive rights and all the television rights to your fights. He signed it with Showtime.
directly, not under PBC. And so it's interesting the flack that PBC is getting, considering that they never signed him.
Right. 100%. That's why that's why I was telling Roscott, like, yes, but no, right? Like, yes, he moved on, but no, PBC wasn't holding him back. PBC had no say in his career. You know what I'm saying? They're not holding him back. Just that's not the case. Like, factually, just, the paperwork, documentation beats conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reality is he wasn't even with the PBC. The PBC wasn't responsible for his career moving in a certain direction. It was Cameron Duncan, and it was, if anything, Steven Espinosa. And Steven Espinosa is no longer with Showtime, because Showtime doesn't exist. He's looking for a home his damn self. Cameron Duncan has passed away, and now Jaron has to look at who can assure me. And one thing Eddie Hearn's going to do is he's going to sit you down and he's going to talk to you and be like, look, this is what I can do for you. Listen, you come with me. This is what I can do for you. A, B, C, D, activity, potential title shots, Turkey Al Sheik, maybe, we never know. And I'm willing to cross promote, and I'm willing to let you move on with another promotional company if it's going to be the Unified Championship belts. Ask anybody, ask Devin Haney about me. I'm super willing to work with you to make sure your career is best. And Jaron said, damn, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That works for me. That's what I need right now in my life.
I think what confuses people is Cameron Duncan came on the scene as a manager, right? He managed Bradley, managed Bud, he managed Nonito, managed Jesse Vargas. And then, of course, but then there came a point where, Cameron's had these physical ailments that's happened throughout, the length of him working with fighters. And eventually he moved into the promotion space, but he wasn't very loud about his promotion space. So I think people are confused because from what we know, he's always been in the management space. But, years ago, he started signing fighters to a promotion. So I think that's where people are like, no, he was signed to PBC. I'm like, no, he's not. I was like, he's not,
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it just looks like that, right? Because you see him perform, performing on PBC cards. You know what I'm saying? You see these things happening, you just automatically assume. I mean, honestly, you had to enlighten me. In all reality, you enlightened me in a personal conversation we had to educate me on the relationship between Tom Brown and the PBC and how actual fighters were really on other promotional, and PBC was just a platform being used by these other promotional companies, these other management companies. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Because from the outside looking in, it just looks like you think to yourself, PBC fighters. If they're on a PBC card, you think they're PBC fighters, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, I mean, even Samson, like you look at Samson, with Fundora, he signed to Samson, and like people don't understand how that's working, because what do you see? You see PBC on a banner everywhere, but so many of these promoters, Matchroom, the same as Top Rank, they all have a primary promoter first, and it's usually a local promoter that believed in them.
Right. Beyond Above the Media said Heyman shook up boxing more than any other promoter in the history of the sport. That's quite possible. Definitely. Definitely quite possible. You know what I mean? PBC is a game changer. They've done great things. They're going to continue to do great things as their relationship with Amazon becomes more transparent, and they understand what they can and they can't do, and they're able to use it and optimize everything they're trying to do. I think PBC is going to be here for a long time. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they do good business for these fighters, but they're in a transitional phase right now. They're building again, and there's some fighters who aren't active because of it. There's just some fighters who just are sitting on the sideline like, I haven't gotten a phone call from these guys in a minute. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Let me see. Blue just posted Boots calling out Spence in public at 154. Boots is there to fight whoever is available. He's always stood on the same soapbox. He's never gone away from the idea of, listen, man, I want to fight everybody. I don't care, especially if they got a belt. There's nobody who I would not fight. If it's either the money's going to be right or the legacy is going to be right. I'm here for it all. You know what I mean? So yeah, it doesn't shock me. I don't know. Did he call? Are you guys hearing that he actually called out Errol Spence, literally, or just saying that he's willing to fight Errol Spence? I don't know. We gotta see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't shock me. I think Boots is ready to fight everybody and willing to fight, especially for the money and especially for the belts. He wants to get in those conversations. PBC tried to monopolize boxing and failed. I think all these companies are trying to take over boxing, right? Like all these companies are trying to take over boxing. That's the game plan. Like they're all trying to take over boxing. So PBC is just following suit. I don't think they're doing anything crazy. And I don't know if it's necessarily they failed, but you know the other promotional companies have thrown their hats in there and be like, no, we're not going nowhere. We're right here. We're not going nowhere. We're here, and we want to see. We're also going to put fights together. That's all it is. Let's see. LeBron James and Clay, there are and have been very successful, and people really ignore that their business model is different than that of the others. Ignore. I don't know if I'm going to say ignore. I think they've acknowledged and everybody knows that their business model is different from everybody else's business model. But I do think that just for some people, the business model doesn't work for them in the sense of, in the spirit of seeing the best fight the best. Some people are not in agreement with the business model. That's all. I don't think nobody's a stranger to the fact that they have a different business model. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's the case. I mean, salute 100%. Ray Davis back in the building.
And True said the same thing you said as you were saying it.
Yeah, I think some people just don't resonate with it. You know what I mean? They don't resonate with the idea of how they want to move. That's all.
Listen, to be fair to the PBC on the way they move with their model, people are not used to change. I think we even discussed this before. You know what I mean? But sometimes giving more can also hurt the game, because then everybody's going to go to the same place to get the golden pot, the leprechaun's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And when that pot dries up, guess what? You got to find a new place. They'd have found 6 new places in the last 15 to 20 years. That's a problem at the end of the day. It's not that the business doesn't work, or it's not, you know what I mean? It's just the fact is that we're paying to watch these fighters make crazy amounts of money. Not that they don't deserve it, but at what cost? You know what I mean, to the company. Like I said, we done seen multiple companies say we're not doing this no more. You know what I mean, with you, and it's sad, but it is what it is.
But we keep ignoring, like it's just so funny that it's microscoped into PBC, but we forget who was. Does anyone remember HBO?
Right, I do.
Yeah.
What promotional company held HBO when it went under?
Was it Top Rank, right? It
was Top Rank, and yet we're forgetting that the one that had the best shows and all that stuff that everyone misses now it was Top Rank that let HBO boxing go. Wasn't PBC, right. But no one's talking about that. We're only talking about what PBC, like which programming they dropped.
Right.
But what is it, like maybe 8 years ago was when HBO left, and Top Rank was the only one that held that.
Right. Let me ask you guys a question though, especially Rachel, who's been here in the boxing space for a long time. You know what I mean? On a professional level, I mean, you know, been involved with it. What is what would you say to a reason as to why it seems as if these big platforms, these big networks have historically and right now presently seem to be just getting out of boxing periodically? What is that all about? What is leading to them? Are they not seeing a proper profit? Are they not making, is it the ROI situation? Is it just the way, is it global warming? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that has them, you know what I'm saying, periodically just dropping boxing? What is that all about?
I think when they're looking at, you know, the viewership, and they're looking at what kind of new customer base is coming into the space for boxing. I think that I keep saying this, that I think that the promotional companies are still doing what they've done for the past 50 years. I don't think that they've changed. I think they've tried to change, but I still don't think that they're capturing the younger market. I don't think that They're getting more viewers. I don't think that there's cross promotions into these, the different media platforms in addition to getting fighters like seen. I think that's what we're missing. I keep saying it. How many fucking times do I want to see a fighter running up the goddamn hill in slow motion? I don't give a shit. Tell me something that's going to make me connect. We are in a generation of connection. That's what social media is about. And if we're missing that, it's because the people that are still running it still live on the fact that they are forgetting that this generation now needs human connection.
Right.
Look at freaking the Love is Blind cast. Okay. You probably don't watch it. It's a Netflix thing anyway, Netflix thing, right? It's a dating show. Okay. These people that are going on the dating show are getting exponentially higher fan bases just by being on this stupid dating show. Then they're going to different cross promotions. They're becoming, fashion influencers, people, magazines covering them. Like there's all these different facets of just appearing on a show once. The problem is that we have these boxers. We'll see them now, and we might see them at the end of the year. World champions only have 2 fights a year guaranteed. And that's if you're, you made sure that you have 2 fights. Most of the time, it's 1 fight guaranteed. So out of sight, out of mind. And the promoters are not doing anything to help these fighters promote themselves other than, oh, hey, in 8 weeks, you have a fight. Now you get to go on a road tour. Now you get to do a press conference. Now, just basic stupid stuff that we keep getting fed, and they haven't changed it with the time.
Right.
Let me ask you this though, right? So, I mean, it sounds like it's spread across the table as to the reason why these relationships aren't working out with these networks. So it's at one point but it just seems like it's coming down to one point, which is at some point it's just not profitable for the networks to be in the business anymore. And whether it's because the managers aren't managing their fighters properly, whether it's because the promotional companies aren't promoting the fights in the proper way or investing into actually making a different type of connection with the fan base. But ultimately, the network itself seems like they're separating from the sport at some point, because at some point it becomes non-profitable. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say that. But I mean, like, I think it's, for me, I'm like, I look at those promotional agreements. You sign over your name, likeness, everything about you. And at that point, if I can't make any moves because you own me, then you should be the one that is going to promote me.
Right.
Because if Nonito does something under a promotional agreement, it doesn't matter if he gets an X deal with a local dentist and they say Nonito Donaire Jr. is over at whatever Las Vegas dentistry and he stamps it. He's not allowed to do that without the permission from the promoter.
100%. That makes sense. Ray, you was going to tap in? I know we've been kind of going.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm just a co-host, so I'm just sitting back and learning. Me, I absorb information and I bring it back to when it's necessary. Rachel is cooking right now. The chat just loves what Rachel is saying.
Oh yeah,
Rachel, they said you're gangster as fuck. So I'm
just
literally telling you, you're on fire right now. You got it turned up in here.
Definitely. Rachel's definitely doing the thing, man, and she's dropping that inside information. You know what I'm saying? She's just letting you know what's really going on behind the curtains. Like, this is what makes it move. This is what moves the needle, and this is what's not moving the needle. And she's saying it not from an opinion base, just from observation of being in the building. So invaluable, 100% invaluable.
I mean, 100%. Even like the sponsorships on the trunks is owned by the promoter.
Wow.
Like, you cannot just go get outside sponsorship without the approval from the promoter or them getting a portion of your proceeds. So, I mean, if you own me, then freaking do your job, because I can't do anything without your permission.
Exactly. Yeah, man. And if it's not working, don't be shocked if they're not there. When it's time for the contract to get re-signed, don't be shocked if they move elsewhere, because they're there for a reason. They're not there just because they want to be part of your movement. I'm sure that's part of it. They want to be part of this big movement. More importantly, it's profitable for me to be here. It makes sense for me to be here.
And
for my career.
point to the fact is, starting with Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, and now Devin Haney, and I don't know if anyone else has really got a big promotional company under their own belt. This is why they do so, because like Rachel said, when they draw their contracts, guess what they do? They're able to promote themselves. They're able to go out and put that in their contract. Like, look, you got so many rights to this, but I'm my own promotional company. I'm my own promoter. You're not going to stop me from doing what I need to do. And guess what? At the end of the day, they get those rights. Like Rachel said, you know what I mean? It's just in their contract where they can do these things. Right. And they still have to follow certain things. I'm pretty sure some split somewhere. But how many things you see on social media that Devin posts that's legitimate? You know what I mean? Where he's at, what he's driving. It's crazy. So that's what we have to get.
Bradley 60, yeah, she is. She is actually a manager, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
She manages quite regularly.
And she just had a fight she just had. She managed last fight with, what card was that? That was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, and then we have one next week in April in LA that we have.
There you go. Woo, Rachel on fire. She's busy too.
For sure. Let me read this question here because I think this is probably more so for
What's
Rachel.
What's up, Phil? Sean. You got me calling him
Sean,
Phil.
Yeah. Maybe it's for all of us, but let me read it right quick. It says, do you think part of it is how much fighters are paid versus the demand, which ultimately can kill an undercard because you are trying to keep costs low to pay the main event fighters? Now, it sounds like Sean is speaking towards to the reason why it might not be profitable for these networks or whatever have you, or Rachel, I don't know if you want to speak to it if it makes sense to you.
I mean, again, the demand falls on the promotions to promote the fighter for people to want to see them fight. I think that when it comes to, like, if you're talking about pay-per-view and things like that, then again, you have to drive that demand. But if you're showing them once a year, it's not beneficial. It's not your ROI is not going to be the same because that demand's not there to feed that fighter and to feed the whole card in general. So, I think that's one of the biggest plays is you put in, you play the gamble, right? You put in as much and you're hoping that this is going to be some type of way. But if you lay the foundation on who these fighters are, then you'll follow them. Like, I follow certain fighters because I know them. But if I didn't know them personally, I follow people that I seemingly have the same outview of life or they're entertaining to me. But if I don't see them, then and I'm just like, I'm watching Pro Box right now. I don't know these fighters. Like, I probably am not going to follow them on Instagram. I don't know where they're from. I don't know, what their background is. If I didn't like boxing, I wouldn't be watching this. But if I saw this guy, being promoted, talking about, I don't know, he just got here with his family. They're all trying to fight their way out of being in a 1-bedroom house with 5 kids. Like, I'm like, damn, like you're against the odds. I want you to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that human connection, but I don't know these kids. And that's where I feel like the contender, I feel like UFC's, I don't know what UFC calls theirs, where they have like the team houses and stuff like that. But that's where people see them. They get to know them. They're like, this guy's a jerk. I want to see him lose, but I want to see him fight, but it's because I want to see him lose. Or the other way, right? This guy's from my hometown. Hell yeah, I'm going to support him. We're all going to go root for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But just seeing these guys on the TV right now in Pro Box, I don't know these kids.
I know Valley. I definitely know Valley from Puerto Rico. He's a good fighter. He actually just won. But yeah, I know what you mean, Rachel. It makes all the sense in the world what you're saying, and that's where we say that's where the casual fan comes in, and then they pick up things. There's a point where all these fighters are not known, and they come on to and some are promoted early. And it's all who the promoter wants to push and make a big name. It's all who they want to set up for the easy fights. These things happen, and when these things happen, you know what I mean. That's where we see all the nonsense happening. So, hey, you know what I mean. This is boxing. This is what the promoters want. This is how they sell their fights.
Right.
Yeah, and this is the funny part is this isn't any different from any other event space. I think someone said, Beyond Above Media said at the same time, promoters put up the risk. Promoters put up the risk for every event. Right. It's not just boxing.
And
hold on. I want to bring another special guest up in here. You know what I mean? Salute to this guy right here. Y'all know who he is when he comes up here right here, but this is fam right here, bro. Be looking kind of a big brother to me in the space, to be honest with you. Salute to the boy, Mill City in the building. Mill City in the building, man, taking his time. You know what I mean?
What's going on, Mills? Mills, that was me on Instagram. That was telling you about Clay the other day. Yeah, that was me. Okay. I'll be watching, you know what I mean? I'll be watching. I salute my brother. I salute you up there. You know what I mean? I'll be watching and supporting.
Thank you. Appreciate you. What's going on, Rachel?
Hi. Just watching Pro Box, waiting for Angelo to come on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What you doing, man? Look like you vibing. Look like you was pushing. You just coming from somewhere?
The gym, man. I don't know. Zab might got me on this bet, so I got to be prepared.
Listen, Zab might have you for real. Like every time you tap into this conversation, you always end up, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's starting to feel some kind of way. Zab Judah got a bet with Mill. If Devin stops Ryan, that he got 100 push-ups. So he about to have a chiseled chest. That's what Zab's saying.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mills, it's at when he calls him, right? So he can tell you drop 10 at any second, right? That's crazy. It's not even like 100 straight. He can be like, yo, just give me 50 and you got to just drop.
You know, he's going to make sure there's people watching too.
I figured that.
No doubt, man.
But you might see that shiny ball head going up and down, though.
Yeah, because the bet goes. He tried to get me in on it, but
he tried to bait Clay into that. I seen that. That was funny.
He tried to get me in there. You already know I got a little bird chest, bro. I ain't like y'all, bro. I ain't trying to do. He tried to see me. It's all good, but nah, bro. That's you and Zab. We gonna watch you and Zab do that for sure.
That was funny. I was watching that. I was dying.
Yo, let's tap. I want to tap into something that Mill City actually has firsthand knowledge on, because I didn't get to really get into this conversation with you about Subriel and the interview that you had with him, and the things that he was saying in the interview. I know for sure, we were talking about him potentially doing something with Regis Prograis. You know what I mean? But how did he feel about Richard Hitchinson, and how did he feel about going into this fight with Liam Paro? You know what I'm
saying? He just, because I showed him the comment that the DM that Richardson showed me that he sent me. So I was like, oh, he's a little sensitive or whatever about the situation, but he doesn't think that he could, he's not at that level yet. You know what I mean? He's not at the Devin Haney level. He's not at that level yet, which what I said on the live as well. Mm-hmm. I really thought that Richardson. I know he was in a tough fight, but that was really it looked tougher than what it should have been.
Right. It's Subriel. So I mean, at the end of the day, Subriel's not really looking into fighting Hitchinson at this point. From what he sees, he's not looking at him as somebody to fight. Is that how Regis Prograis came up as far as a potential opponent?
Yeah, because he's busy, right? Because Africa said that he wants one more fight before getting the title fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he's very observant. I don't know if you noticed, he actually understands English. He just chooses really, it doesn't come out, he can't really respond that great. But
right. But he understands what's being said. He you know what I'm saying? I feel what you're saying on that. Yeah, man.
He also said that Regis and him had DMs. Speaking upon because I'm a firm believer and a supporter of Subriel, and he's looking for names, so he's willing to give Regis an opportunity, but he actually said he wants the opportunity to fight Regis because it's an actual name that people know. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So he's the IBF is looking for the opportunity. The IBF champion is looking for the opportunity.
Right, he's looking for an opportunity to fight. It's kind of weird. You would think people would be calling him out, but he's the boogeyman. Nobody trying to call the boogeyman out. They want him to stay in the closet or under the bed. They don't want him to come out. You know what I mean? Keep the lights on in here. Don't say don't turn the lights off. We don't want no problems with that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? That Subriel that Sabril would be calling out, but I don't think it's far fetched. It makes sense. He's trying to make the biggest fights possible, and if he has to be the one to put it out there and say, "Listen, give me the opportunity," he's going to take it because he knows he believes in what he's going to do in that ring, and a lot of fans believe that as well. You ain't touched base with me on Puerto Rico, but we do that. We'll talk about it.
I got some good news for you about it though.
Oh man, we're gonna talk about it. I don't want to do it on here, but so now Jaron Boots Ennis heading over to Matchroom. Did you see that coming?
I did, cause I don't know if you remember me talking about that, but yeah, because of the situation with Duncan, his manager, he had a Showtime deal. He hasn't been fighting. He needs to stay busy.
Yeah.
So that's what my take was. Like I like that he's there, but I just don't want him to have a Demetrius Andres type of career.
Right. Where he just disappears into the dark, and he's not in activity. Just sucks his whole entire career away from him.
You could be a two-time division champ. You could be a 2-division champion, and like you didn't get that marquee fight. Like, look, he finally got that marquee fight with David Benavidez, and he was outnumbered and outgunned. Which, if you knew about boxing, you knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Can we also look at the fact that the Demetrius Andre thing that they were protecting Triple G and Canelo at one point until Canelo moved up, and they just were not moving him that direction? Because, I mean, they didn't have a good stable there for 160 at the time either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing about what Triple G and Rachel will tell you, he's a star, man. So It's like, what is Demetrius Andres bringing to the table?
Correct.
Besides the title, and I think boxing has just turned more into a business than competition.
100% agree.
Yeah. It seemed inevitable that it would head into this direction, but I do think it kind of aggressively has gone in that direction to the point where we're kind of losing a little. I'm cool with the next generation getting what we're getting right now. I wanted to still see boxing. You know what I'm saying?
But don't get it twisted. All the Crawford fans are gonna be going crazy saying he didn't fight nobody because there's nobody over there.
Right. What do you think the chances of, speaking of that, what do you think the chances are of Crawford and Boots now getting coordinated in any kind of way, being that Boots went over to Matchroom? You know what I'm saying? That Turkey Al-Sheikh, has more of a hands on, type of thing going on with Matchroom. And Terrence is not anywhere yet, but I think it's fair to say. I think it was on your show, right, where Bernie said that Turkey was in Terrence's ear, right? So, what do you think the chances of that fight getting put together now? Being that Terrence said money was the only reason why the fight wasn't happening, right?
I mean, you're gonna find out when when he goes to Matchroom and he goes to that network and sees if he sells. Because
no doubt,
Eddie's not gonna keep taking risks. You know what I mean with these guys. That's why he said, Oscar, you could take that Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight.
Right.
He ain't taking no risks. So I don't know how much risk he's gonna take with Jaron Ennis.
Can we think possibly that he could probably put Sabril and Jaron or Devin and Jaron on the same on the same card, right?
Claymore would tell you that's even gonna be a fight that happens.
Right. No, I mean on the same card at one point to try to build numbers up to get the pay-per-views up. Because I think if we can merge 2 or 3 big names on a card, I think Matchroom can actually pull some numbers up because of the cards. Because I think their cards are like not all mediocre, not on the Matchroom side, but you know what I mean. It's just like they usually give you like 3 good fights, and then the rest are like flyweights, bantamweights. No disrespect to those guys, but it's a lot of boxers that like the main the casuals don't know, so they don't really jump up to support the pay-per-views.
I mean, a key thing that Sobrin said yesterday was that, if you've been looking at certain cards lately, they've been mixing the races so you can have different fan bases fill it up. If you look at June 22nd with Tank, Tank is, Tank and Frank, they're, Black American fighters, but the rest of the card, that's Latino.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to mix it up, and I think that's the way you're going to get the numbers the way, these guys. So I don't know. I mean, I can see what you're saying. It could happen.
Yeah, because I just think that if Matchroom starts getting these names up, they can start adding and doubling up
But
these
they're main
fights.
event fighters too. They're main event fight. He's
Yeah,
not
well,
coming
they're
like
co-mains.
Yeah, but he not coming like prime is like stacking the card like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's a stack that like just having Matthias and Boots on the same card. That's fire.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, 100%. That's what I'm talking about. Just having two good fights on, and then having some mediocre or some great, B level fights.
But respectfully though, they need to like build it. Like they need to be main event. You know what I mean? They got to be treated like that too. They're both champions too. You know what I mean? I don't know how much. You gotta look at what Eddie what Eddie got going on right now.
Yeah. They got work to do, but I think they're on the right trajectory, but they got work to do. When you're competing with like the PBC, it can look, it could look bad because their events are just so crazy when they do have them. But I just think they need to get busier as well.
It's not really much competition though, right? Because he's putting on a lot of events, like
right.
When
he doesn't have it quality, he replaces
pay-per-view only right now.
I think Matchroom actually has a decent lineup. They have decent fighters, especially but they have a lot of European fighters, which is okay because European fighters sell too, especially over in Europe. You know what I mean? They bring that whole side of the world over. So that brings in some numbers to them as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with the fight this past weekend, no one in Vegas knew that there was a freaking Matchroom event at Fontainebleau. Like, what would have been the ROA? That was a big arena. I don't know what the capacity of that arena was, but maybe he should have just stayed at Virgin or Cosmo because it didn't look good on camera, and nobody in freaking Vegas even freaking knew that was on. Like, we were, you know what I'm saying? We were at an amateur event in North Las Vegas, and then everyone was just like, go your separate ways. The only reason I even caught it was because we were at the fighter's house, and I was like, put on DAZN, and I was like, oh, there's a fight. Where's this fight? And we saw Fontainebleau. We're like, is it Fontainebleau, Miami? We're like, everyone's like, oh no, shit, I think this is down the street. Like, how do we not know? I freaking live in Vegas.
Right. But this goes back, Rachel, to what I said last week about, and Clay definitely support this, when I was just saying that the promotional companies are not promoting the fights like they used to. We don't know what's going on. There's no promotion. We used to see promotion all the time for fights, pay-per-views, etc. We don't see it anymore. It's like
because they expect us to do it.
Right,
honestly.
Right. And it's not right because what is the media or even YouTube or Twitter? What is that doing for everything? We're only giving the boxing fans what they want. We're not delivering to the casual fans. We're not delivering to the people that are walking around on the streets of Vegas to see what's going on. And that's the problem with boxing. That's why, like I said, I think that's why the numbers are going. That's where I think Turkey Sheik, what I said earlier, Clay, is going to change boxing because he's seen something when he's seen the celebrity boxing going on in Dubai. He's like, yo, this is going on here. Why not bring it here? And he promotes his fights. I mean, he definitely promotes his fights. I mean, he had the Street Fighter thing with Anthony Joshua and Ngannou, the December fight he had. You've seen that all over. And when you see things like that, guess what? Everybody was there for the Days of Reckoning. I watched it. You know what I mean? I watched the Ngannou fight. Like
big shows.
What I'm saying.
Big shows.
They put on big shows and they promoted it well.
Now, segueing, guys, just into the next topic that we didn't get a chance to speak on for real, which was David Benavidez. Is there any weight that should be put into David Benavidez's situation? You know what I'm saying? Like with his history, right? And what he's done in the past and kind of like how he's kind of tripped up his career by kind of making some impulsive decisions. Is Miami a good place for David Benavidez to be in? Is that where he needs to be, or does he need to be in Seattle? Like, you know what I'm saying? Does he need to go back to Seattle, or you know what I mean? Or is he just like this an adult and he's just gonna do what he's supposed to do in Miami? I don't know. It's like, is Miami the spot for David Benavidez?
Well, are you saying that because of the drunk thingy?
Well,
he is. You know he is.
Yeah. He was drunk. You know what I'm saying? He was sauced up. Let's just say he was good and buzzed. And it's during a camp. right? He's supposed to be actively working in a camp right now, getting ready for a fight in June. Should we just is he just a grown man and we should just respect that he's doing his thing and that's not a big deal? Or is Miami, because I find it hard to believe he would have got caught up like this if he was in Seattle.
I mean, if you're gonna get drunk and sauced up, you could do it anywhere. So I mean, I don't know how much it plays on Miami, as far as being in Seattle, differently, because there's a liquor store, you could go anywhere. I just think, I'm always trying to protect Nonito. We were at the bar after the fights on March 30th, and people did come up to him and asking him for, some interviews. And at some point in the night, I was like, yeah, nah, he'll schedule an interview with you on Monday. So, you want those type of people around that if you want to unwind, and you're being a little bit sloppy and you might say something stupid, then there should be someone that's like, hey, no, I'm not trying to be a bitch, but I'm going to be a bitch right now and say, no, let's schedule it for a later time. He's too sauced, because, you can't take that back, but as far as the location, I just think if you're headstrong on getting what you're going to get it anywhere.
Right. I was just thinking Miami's nightlife is just lit though. Like there's just so much to do in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like Miami's always got something going on. So I don't know. Well, you about to say something, Mill?
Yeah, he hanging out with Mateo. Mateo got the bag over there. So, he over there with the nice, showing off the nice cars and all the jewelry. Sometimes you want to splurge. I can't really talk negative. I dabble on all that stuff too, even when I was an amateur. So I'm not a great influence, but I feel like what Rachel was, man, his girlfriend was right there. Just to have his best interest, she should have just said, nah, not right now, because he looked bad, and that Canelo looked good.
Right. And then on top of that, right? I thought that might have attracted Canelo to the situation. Like, you know what? Tell him I'll fight him next. You know what I'm saying? I thought that might have had Canelo get interested in the fight all of a sudden. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I choose not to judge him because, like you said, everybody has their I've had my situations as well. But ultimately, he's an athlete, and it just looks like ill timing, bad timing. You know what I mean? With the whole entire fight that he's supposed to be getting ready for, it just is like, man, is he partying? Like I thought he left that behind him. You know what I mean? But I'm glad he apologized. Not that he owed anybody an apology, but it just made me realize that he acknowledged, I know that's a bad look. He acknowledged his history and just like that's a bad look, and assured us all that would never happen again. I think he got the understanding of we're not saying don't do your thing, but be conscious. Have people around you and be conscious of the space you're in so you're not looking crazy. That's all. Now, what about
I was gonna tell you, if you would spin the block a little bit, with the Jaron Ennis topic, I wanted to ask Rachel and you, what you think as far as, Eddie possibly, throwing Pacquiao, in the situation. And then with Rachel, it's with the Matchroom and how they, I know you and Nonito are very outspoken upon, anything when it comes to boxing. So what you think about as far as the PED situation for that type of a fight? You know what I mean? Is Manny coming back? And I feel like they possibly said, hey, I'll get you the Manny fight, but you need to rock with you got to get Jaron Ennis a shot too.
I mean, I think the PED situation, what you're talking about with Conor Benn?
Yeah. I mean, and the testing for, that fight specifically, depending on where that fight's going to be held at, right?
I mean, I thought that they were talking about that being in Saudi. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the fighter cards for Saudi being on the VADA program. Of course, that's going to be something that's completely voluntary between the two. I would suggest Conor Benn to freaking do it because, I mean, he can't even fight in the UK as it is, to prove something. But, he keeps saying he ate eggs. I'm trying to figure out what kind of eggs he ate and try to see how that ended up being in the system. But I think that there should be drug testing. And it should be given by the promoters, but the promoters need to have a transparency. I think that when we are the last ones to find out, then I think that just leads towards corruption. When they're trying to, move and change rules and figure out how they're going to get away from this, or create a story behind it where the commission will allow it to. One of, as you know, like Oscar's a friend of ours. I don't want to speak badly, but this is just a matter of fact. He was hit on the VADA program, and the commission overturned it. So when things like this happen, we start to wonder, well, so is it worth doing these drug tests if commission's going to override it just so the promotion doesn't lose money? Or are we going to hold to a certain standard of integrity? And I think that's gone. That's out the window. I think now, like, we're completely forgetting about any integrity in the sport anymore.
Right. I think I can answer the egg question for you, Rachel, if you didn't know. Apparently the eggs were from the United States, where we inject our eggs with some type of chemical that was not allowed because they use different eggs in England. So they got a batch from the U.S., and apparently that batch created some type of positive test for him. That's why the U.S. passed him for unsuspended him so quickly, as opposed to England, because they don't believe that. But it's what it is. Yeah, like everything you just said is 100% though.
I just felt like, I mean, first of all, like they all of a sudden don't have chickens to lay eggs in the UK that were flying over eggs over there.
Exactly.
And considering the amount of, I believe it was like a type of estrogen supplement, I honestly thought maybe his girlfriend or wife or whatever that he was sleeping with or eating her out is where the eggs came from.
Damn.
That part. You know what I'm saying?
What eggs were you eating?
Not because the reason why I say that, because I got Manny beating him if he's not on that shit.
Manny is always going to be the thing with Manny is and people try to replicate this is his off rhythm timing. It's like you have to. In boxing, people are built on a rhythm, and you see a lot of Solis's fighters. Whenever you see their TikToks and their Instagrams, it's all about like this dancing rhythm, and you hear the music in the background. So they feel like you can't fight if you don't have rhythm. But Manny capitalized on the fact that he didn't need to, because he was so awkward in that is where he was able to get you standing there. And launching off of something that you didn't think he was actually going to launch off of. I'm going to mute real quick. Leo's fighting, and I forgot.
Yeah, I'm watching it too. That's literally happening.
I'm
watching it as well. But yeah, man. As far as tapping into that part, about Manny Pacquiao, I was just, were you saying like potentially lining up a Manny Pacquiao and a Jaron Ennis, or are you talking about Manny and Conor?
I'm talking about Manny and Conor.
Right. Listen, man, if Manny's trying to make it happen, I don't see why he wouldn't take the fight. You know what I'm saying? As far as the PED accusations, as long as he's able to come up clean, you know what I'm saying, for that fight, I don't see why Manny wouldn't do it. But I do think it's you got to ask yourself, because I'm hearing rumors it's Conor and Jaron that's supposed to be getting scheduled. So did Manny already kind of fall out of that negotiation? Is he not interested in that fight anymore? Is that what that means, or?
Nah, the news, the only news is that he signed to Matchroom. He hasn't even, and I haven't seen the interview the Matchroom interview. Did you guys see it yet?
Yeah, I got it right here. I'm like halfway through it, and he ain't talk about that. I'm like almost halfway through it. No, actually, I'm about halfway through it.
I wanted to chill at the house to watch it, but yeah, did he specify like how many fights he got over there?
No, he didn't get into that yet, but he said that basically what the part that I got to was him basically getting it. He was actually just starting to speak on. I lightweight want to put it on. I lightweight just want to put it on because straight up. Hold on a second. Share screen. I want all the belts. There we go. Share. You know what I'm saying? Literally, that's what I was watching.
The ring's too long, and you want to get your sort of band together back in the ring.
Yeah, most definitely. I just want to get myself back in the ring, you know, and like I said, somebody gonna pay, no matter who it is.
Any development with regards to who you might fight next? I know Cody Crawley was a mandatory challenger in the Percival was previously called that.
My next opponent, I'm not too sure though. That was the only opponent that was on the line, you know, because he was supposed to be my mandatory and things like that. So if it's him, it's him. I don't care who it is. I just want to get back in the ring, get back active. Like I said, continue keeping on shoes and making my mark in this boxing game.
Eddie's always talked about how important it is for our fighters to have that homecoming fight, those big fights in their hometown. It's been over 5 years since you fought in Philly. Is that something you want next? How important would that be to kind of have such a big homecoming after all those years?
Fighting at home is everything to me, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to play. I don't want to get copyright issues, but yeah, I don't know, man. I know he wants to be active, and that's what I assumed. And so I didn't need him to tell me that. I know that he wants to be active, and if he's at Matchroom, that kind of speaks. Man, please, hey, knows probably walked around. You know what I'm saying? So I'm over here reading the statements, whatever have you. But yeah, on that part. But get ready. You got some push-ups coming your way, Mill. You know what I'm saying? Possibly. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You can't win them all, bro. I know you're a gambling man, but you can't win them all. You know what I'm saying?
No, he can't. He definitely can't. He definitely can't
win them all, bro.
But I mean, hey, I think Ryan got an opportunity to, you know, I don't see him winning the fight, but I definitely see him, you know, making it a harder time than Regis did. And Regis went the distance, so I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, I think you have a good chance of being all right. You know what I mean? Just being honest
Ryan's
about it.
a better boxer than Regis too.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. I think so. I agree with that. Salute AK Crowder in the building. Salute.
Yeah, I agree with that to a degree.
No, I think Ryan's a better boxer than Regis.
I think he has slightly better footwork. They're both punchers. I see the footwork being better.
Ryan's got the Ryan has
there's an obviously who's a better striker here.
Right. That's different. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, like everyone talks about like, oh, Ryan only got a left hand. You know what I mean? Like I see that he got a decent right hand as well.
Yes.
But I know for a fact Regis only got a left hand.
Right.
Right.
He's limited. He's a limited fighter.
Right.
Very limited.
Well, there's no jabs on, you know what I mean? And
he's undersized as well.
At least Brian does attempt to throw like a feint in a semi jab. It's like a soft jab, but he get to close distance. Regis doesn't even do that.
Regis started boxing when I started boxing. Like I started boxing younger than Regis. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
He's learning on the job heavily. Extremely.
100%.
A lot of people be like, you know, like a lot of coaches, they're actually shocked about how Regis got there.
Salute Charles Edward Cheese in the building.
Your soundboard is low, Clay.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about now?
Nope, still low.
I don't know why. I gotta think it's why. Hold on. Let me play with this for a second. But salute Charles Edward Cheese for sure. Yeah, we in here talking, Charles. We in here talking boxing. You know what we doing, man. You know how we doing. Shout out to Charles Edward Cheese. And you guys know, you see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen. It's slowly for surely, though. But we got 25K for one of these subscribers once we hit 1,000 subscribers. That is a fact. That is a major fact. And you can believe in that. That's a fact. Shout out to Charles Edward Cheese for sponsoring that, man, for sure.
Salute to Charles Edward Cheese.
Charles Edward Queso.
Yeah, Mr. Queso. Yo, let me ask you guys. Let's talk about Tank in Frank for 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Because we're about to close it up soon. It looks like, you know, the night's going to get wrapped up. So we've been going on 2 hours. It'll be 2 hours soon. What do you think the chances, and Mill, like, what do you think the chances are for Frank to really pull this upset? Is there a real good chance? Is there a good chance of this happening, or is it just super unlikely? What do you think?
Jesus. Yo, Frank gotta have the perfect night. He gotta have the perfect night. And he gotta Bart smart. But the thing about with him is that he's another guy too that that he uses his athletic ability a lot to get away, you know, do what he does. And, you know, Tank is also athletic, probably more explosive. And I think that's the key thing is the explosiveness that Tank has. He's going to be able to cut that distance. And you know what happens when that happens. So if that other guy, Artem, was able to cut the distance that easy on Frank, Tank should have no problem.
Right.
But it should be a good fight. It should be a good fight. I actually had the fight going the distance.
Ooh. So you're saying potential Buster Douglas moment without the knockout? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm telling you, like, I have this going the distance. I think he's durable, and I think his IQ is probably as high as, I don't want to say as high as Gamboa, because I'm high on Gamboa. Gamboa used to be that guy.
Right.
You know, and Linares is a great boxer too, but he's there. He's almost there. He's almost at that level, but I don't even put him at that level with those guys either.
Wow. Okay.
For sure.
And the moment too, in that last fight with Artem, there was a lack of faith in Martin. I felt like, damn, like, why aren't you getting him? Like, Derek James is telling you to go get him. You're not getting him. You're better than this guy. And he that little knockdown at the end, you don't even want me to even go into that fight, because I don't even want to talk about it.
Right. So, can I ask you this about that Artem fight? I mentioned this a lot too. Clay will tell you this. Did Artem look like he was he definitely came in overweight? He looked like he was huge, like he was like a welterweight, rehydrated in that fight.
Coming down. He was coming down.
Right, because I was like, yo, this dude's like freaking like 160 pounds in the ring against Frank. So I thought that's what gave Frank trouble. I think Frank had to utilize his speed once he realized he had to utilize his speed, because he took the punches from him pretty well, being that he was a bigger guy, no Diddy, but he took the punches well from Artem. Frank did.
The problem with that fight was that Frank, the guy, he doesn't know how to fight with the back foot. He's a front foot fighter, Artem is. Right. So what Frank likes to do is he kind of do like the little Shakur thing, like he likes to step to the side, or he likes to step back real quick, and then stay into range, stay from out range to in range, out range to in range. But he's playing too much games in there with this guy. He got to push the pace, make him go backwards, because he can't go backwards. And when he did, he had success. But he had a lack of faith in that fight, and I don't like that shit, because when you go into a Tank fight, that motherfucker, man, excuse my language, but that boy right there, that boy know how to live the moment.
Yeah, yeah, ain't no doubt.
I was surprised when he did that backflip at the Barrios fight. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, when he jumps over that is reckless, bro. He looks like anything can happen. He in the air, anything can happen.
So
let me just hit. How about now?
Yeah, you good? No, you still low. But
that's right.
Yeah, that's low.
It's still low?
Yeah.
I gotta work on that.
So my answer to the question was, and a lot of people don't like what I say is, I always said that I want to see Tank in a fight where I have to see him go into his bag, and then I was mentioning to Clay, I said, I think Tank's already been in his bag. He showed us everything he can do. I just don't think he had to show us everything in sequence or at once. Like, he was able to pick what he wanted to do out of his tool bag and beat the fighter. I mean, I've never seen him have to use everything at once. Like, had to be desperate or be challenged. So I think this is the opportunity for us to see him use multiple tools at the same time for once, and saying, you know what, I got this. Maybe the Barrios fight a little bit, maybe the Leo fight a little bit. But I think he can actually pull more out the bag, more tricks, and show us that he can be that fighter. And if what I see with Frank is, I see Frank is just like you said, he's an in and out fighter. He's speed, he's lateral, which is a good thing. But I can also see Frank. You know what I mean? He has a little bit.
He got a decent pop too.
That's what I was gonna say. He got a little bit of pop. So if he can get Tank, because I think Tank can struggle with people close to his size, if I'm not mistaken. Gamboa.
Yeah. He has to go in more in his bag with
right. So I think
Do you agree with that, though, Mill? Do you think that Tank has shown everything that he can do, or for the most part shown what he does, or do you think there's other facets of the game that he just hasn't shown us because he hasn't had to?
I don't think he's been in his bag like that yet.
Okay.
Because look at it, right? He's lining up these guys for a certain shot, you know, especially in the last couple of fights, right? And then I think the most we've seen, really, like the most we've really seen from Tank was younger Tank, honestly. That's when we really got to see Tank really go in his bag. Now he's been like a surgeon on knowing how to punch placement and get these guys out of here. He's a special fighter.
You thinking like Pedraza Tank? Like that's when you like one of those fights like around that time?
That's a fire Tank.
Right.
That's a fire Tank. Right. You know?
Salute Jonathan 97.
Salute Jonathan 97 for sure.
When he fought that dude Liam Walsh, that was a good fight.
Yes, that was a good fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think like when you fight a guy like when he's undersized, when he's fighting the Barrios and stuff like that, like he showed you like he could be defensively disciplined and take some big shots. I was at that fight. Like he took a lot of shots. His forehead was red and everything, you know? And he shows a dog in you to get the dude out of there when Floyd says he's down. You know, that shit's crazy. He's undersized. He's undersized and getting the guy that's bigger out of there and urgency.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I respect that.
No doubt, no doubt. Guys, we've been on for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying?
One thing. If we can talk about it, Clay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Listen, can we talk about the Milli Vanilli CB4 having Clarissa Shields rap song?
Yeah, bro. She's a rapper. I don't even really have too much of a comment on it. I mean, for me, I'll be real with you because for me, the only thing that matters to me with this whole situation is, are y'all going to fight or not? If y'all talking about really fighting and fine, everything is cool. But if there's no fight happening, I don't care for the love and hip hop outside. I don't care for it. I don't care about it.
No, I know. I just think that's just funny because that's what everybody's talking about. Like I said, straight out Lil Cass, crazy motherfucker named Gusto.
Yeah, they're either gonna fight or they're not gonna fight. I don't know how much.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
That's a clout. They're clout chasing each other for no reason.
Yes. Oh, she's coming out like Roy Jones. That's funny. I like that. That's funny.
Did she smoke it? Charles wants to know how she did it. She didn't. It wasn't Charles. It wasn't. It wasn't in Charles. You know what I'm saying? It was like some old school. She sounded like an older person trying to rap.
She tried to twerk in that video too. Did you see that? She tried to clap it.
Yeah, she tried to turn around and do this little clapping thing.
Clarissa still trying to clap it.
Listen. Shout out to Clarissa Shields. She's a great boxer. Can't wait to see her in the ring again.
That's like Antonio Tarver clapping.
Yo, she turned around and she did this thing where she
oh my god! I was like, yo, stop.
It was just like, that's not it. Clarissa, it's not it. It's not it. Clarissa. It's not it.
And what was that movie? Rush Hour 2 with the buttercream croc suit? Like, for real?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's messed up. I got a bad image in my face, in my head right now. I got Antonio Tarver twerking it right now.
No,
Pause.
No, did he? Well, now, but for real.
Not Antonio, but yeah, man, she came. She put that together pretty quickly though, when you think about it, because they just got into it over the weekend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For her to have a whole video, had all the belts on top of the Rolls Royce, you know what I mean? She was sitting in front of Rolls Royce and she was doing her thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, Larry, but I'm married. Sorry.
Yeah.
Clarissa's bored, huh?
Yeah. Clarissa is. Yeah, bro. Clarissa is trying to attack Alicia Baumgartner. Like, she's trying to attack her. I don't even think she's trying to get into a boxing match with her. I just think she's got some time right now, and she wants to win this. She wants to win this where she thinks she can win this. Like, she doesn't think the fight's going to happen. I think she knows. I think she's not going to make the fight happen. You know what I'm saying? So, but she still wants to win.
Maybe they're just gassing us up, and they're doing like sister promo right now.
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe.
And Clay,
maybe.
Because
I can't see them getting that weight class right.
Right. And Clay, didn't Alicia say, like, you know what I mean? You keep putting you just trying to come at me. Like, is she not like doing that? Is she not doing everything Alicia like claimed her to do right now with the clout chase?
Is Clarissa doing it? Yeah, Clarissa is trying to close the show.
Right.
She, from her position, she's looking at it like, you started, I'm gonna finish it. You know what I'm saying? And she's tapping into that. And I don't think Alicia, to be honest with you, I don't think Alicia Baumgartner really tapped into that energy that bad.
Nope.
I think she kept it boxing. I'm gonna be real with you. I think she really kept it boxing. I think Clarissa took it real personal. She's really going ham. But it is what it is. If they're not gonna fight, what are we talking about? If you're not gonna fight, I don't care about this.
I just see
you're
on
not
Twitter
battle
that
rappers,
Alicia said 150 or nothing.
You're not battle rappers.
I think a 150 catch fight would work.
If she keep talking, she gonna get what she asked for and get that one time.
Okay. One time might need it, man, because he kind of needs something. I don't know how you gonna look
one
on that
hand one time.
That one time, he got one hand one time. This might be the time for her to get it for real. This might be the best one time she gonna get a chance at.
Yo, imagine Clarissa calling out Keith Thurman right now.
Let's make it happen right now. Come on one time. Nah, bro, y'all crazy, bro. Y'all wild. I don't know. It's hard for me to take this situation seriously. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to take it seriously. At the same time, I could say that I don't know what Clarissa has planned. You know what I mean? Like, what does she got going on? She might want to entertain getting this fight with Lisa Baumgartner, because what really is on the menu for her? Like, what's she gonna do?
I mean, I think isn't it? What's her name? Chantel? What's her name? The one that just beat
the one that just beat up. Well, she didn't beat her up. Let me not say that. She didn't beat her up, but she won.
Yeah, it was a messy fight.
Right.
Tadesha should have won that fight, but she played into all that messiness.
Mm-hmm.
She got finessed.
Yeah.
She got finessed in the fight where she wasn't letting her hands go. She wasn't, you know what I mean? She got finessed.
Right.
But
the moment.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you.
One more for the chat, Clay. One more for the chat.
Okay.
This morning I saw on Twitter that Shakur had put out there that he thinks there should be a rematch for Fundora and Tim Tszyu.
Yeah, I think there should be a rematch with him and El De Los Santos too.
Boom. How did I respond to that? That's
Ray
exactly what I responded with. But you know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, why would you even put that out there? If you ain't rematching this dude, why are you calling out other rematches? Remember, this is the third rematch he didn't call it out. Right? This is the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't rematch De Los Santos. Ain't that crazy?
And he told Devin to rematch Loma too.
Right. And he said, why don't Tank fight Isaac, right? Before me or something like that? Rematch Isaac. Guys out there calling out rematches, but he ain't the one taking the seat in that.
I think he's gonna rematch De Los Santos. I think it's gonna happen.
At 150?
No. I think it's gonna happen at 135, bro. I think it's gonna happen. I think
you never touched on what's a bigger fight, Matias and Pitbull Cruz or Pitbull Cruz and Tank rematch?
No, I didn't tap in. We could tap into that for sure. That was a good question earlier today. Mill had it on his show.
The reason why I said it because Subir said it.
Okay. So Subriel was basically trying to figure out, trying to put value into his fight with Pitbull.
Yeah, because we're looking at who should he fight, and we already know that Haney don't sell.
Yeah. Like I told you, for me as a fan, I would rather see Pitbull versus Subriel. But the casual fan base that's out there is probably going to value Pitbull and Tank more than they do Subriel. And I just feel like I already know what's going to happen with Tank and Pitbull. I just feel like Tank there's going to be a one-sided affair.
He'll find a way, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What you think, bro? What you think was the
I'm going with Tank and Pitbull.
Okay.
I think it generates more. I think it just generates. I mean, we're looking for as a fan standpoint. I think it generates more, and I think the impact of the fight means more because now that he went up to 140 and got a belt, and Tank went up to 140 and got a title. Guess what? That means that they can fight at 140. And the winner gets Sabril. Gotta be willing. He gets past Paro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. If people start really getting, if the Puerto Rican people start really getting behind Matias, it's gonna be interesting.
Right.
Because once they believe in you, and the island believes in you, and he beats Paro, oh my goodness, he's gonna have all the Puerto Rican support.
Boricua.
And that's a lot of people, boys. That's a lot. And remember, we've been waiting. We've been waiting for a while. We know that everybody knows.
Tito, Cotto, now
Everybody
Sabril.
knows that Belenga wasn't the guy.
Right.
We knew he had to keep growing. So
and that was a fight we missed too, man. Tito and Cotto. Like Tito moved up too fast for Cotto, man. That would have been a great fight at middleweight, man. Junior middleweight. But he moved up too fast. He went to light heavyweight quick. And got up out of there.
I think the fight that we missed was Tito Trinidad and Shane Mosley.
Yeah, that's another one. Shane was too small.
He shouldn't have fought Winky Wright. He should have fought Tito.
Shane was too small.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Shane did good with Cotto.
I'm about to wrap this up. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, no worries, man.
Yo, tomorrow, Mill, what y'all doing tomorrow? What's going on the show tomorrow?
I don't know. I gotta wake up and
that part.
Yeah, and see what's going on.
No doubt. Well,
I'll
be around
right now.
No doubt. All right, man. Look, salute to the chat. Salute to everybody in the building. You know what I mean? Salute to Charles Edward Cheese, Anonymous, Freaking Flyer, Bradley 68, all the family in the building. Really appreciate you guys. We did like 2 hours a night. I'm trying not to do these marathons anymore like we used to do. Not unless we got a reason to do it. I really appreciate Mill City coming through tonight, man. I know you got it. I know you on your way. It's that time of the night for you, so I appreciate you making some time to come on the show and say what's up. Salute to Rachel. I know you're watching the fight, Rachel, but I'm sure you can hear me. I always appreciate you coming through. You like a regular here. Really, Rachel, you just like you low-key a co-host on this channel.
Yes, she is. I'm saying? The best co-host in the world.
Yeah, man. We got the best female in the game. As far as female co-hosts in the game, we got the best one hands down. And I stake claim to that. You know what I'm saying? She's over here regularly dropping the knowledge, giving opinions, breaking down boxing, letting us know what's going on in the game, and I appreciate her for that. Salute to Nonito, guys. I've been talking to Rachel and Nonito about coordinating something as well, as far as the interview is concerned. Kind of tapping into Nonito a little bit, so look out for that soon. We're going to be putting that together.
He's a great interviewer. He's one of the best interviewers.
Yeah, man. I'm looking to pick out his brain a little bit and hopefully give him the best interview he's ever had online. That's my game plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. You guys, I don't know if you guys want to close it out, but I'm about to put on the outro and we about to be done.
Yeah.
I'm about to go old school with the outro though.
There you go.
Y'all don't know nothing about it. Is it still low?
Yeah, I can't hear it.
Oh God, bro. I don't know what that's all about, man.
You got
me
the
looking
sound,
like neutral.
You got the soundboard connected to your laptop?
Yeah, but everything is connected the way it's normally connected. Like my soundboard, like that's what I'm talking to through on the microphone. So I got to really take a look to see what it is. If there's like some kind of, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I got to see. I don't have the answers.
All right, boys.
All
right, Mill. All right, Ray. All right, Rachel. All right, chat. Salute to all y'all, man. We out.